what's going on, everyone? I'm Vinny Costa, editor of Street Muscle Magazine and your host of the RodCAST, brought to you by Lucas Oil. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Greg Acosta, editor of Engine Labs and the all-around tech guru. What's up, Greg?
Hey, what's going on, Vinny?
Not a whole lot, man. Just another day in the office. As you know, we've been like for the last year and some change. We were remote, right? Everybody was working from home, but now we have this interesting hybrid schedule, which I think a lot of companies are adopting, excuse me. And so we come into the office a couple days a week. It's pretty nice. I get to see some buddies and talk shop, and it's fun, man.
Sweet.
So that's why we have the change of background. I should leave with that. But yeah, man, just another day in the office, cranking out some great content on Street Muscle Magazine, and so that's what we got going down. Today is a very interesting episode because we are continuing our build series. So the last build series that we did was the Supercar Shootout, where we compared Challenger, Camaro, and GT500 Mustang to see which super muscle car reigned supreme in terms of value and performance. And we're continuing with that theme, and this time we're going to build us a Corvette, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is, especially since there's been so much like hype around them, and you know, whether it's because it's mid-engine, whether it's because it's only $59,000 to start, whether it's, you know, it's been super high, the LT2, you know, on my end. So there's a lot of new stuff about it. So it's a lot of stuff to be excited about, even if you're not, you know, necessarily a Corvette guy.
Yeah, I think you published a few articles on the LT2 already, right?
Yep. Yeah. Right from the reveal, we were able to get some photos and knock something out all the way up until I think the last one we published dedicated to the LT2 was when Texas Speed got one in to tear apart, and they actually had no problem, pulled back the curtain and showed everything, and it's really interesting inside.
Right on. Yeah, man. So there's no shortage of information out there about them. So I guess without getting too long-winded, I say let's just jump into it, man. I really want to build this thing. So let's quickly take a word from our sponsors and then jump into the build.
Sounds good.
Performance parts for your American Classic are available from POL at performanceonline.com. POL is the perfect upgrade for your classic car or truck. Whether you're hitting the strip or going on a road trip, POL's performance braking, steering, suspension, fuel injection, exhaust, radiators, rear ends, and more are top-notch and can be seen in our showroom floor. Cruise on down to our show-stopping showroom and take a look at our brand new Blackout Series parts, or order POL parts from performanceonline.com and have them shipped straight to your garage.
And we're back, the boys. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, how are you guys?
Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, sir.
Rob Finkelman, the ever-present expert on all things movie and automobilia. And Greg, of course, the editor of Engine Labs and all-around tech guru. We're back for another installment of the last one was called the Super Muscle Car Shootout, and I guess this one will just be called the Supercar Shootout, right?
Or Super Sports Car Shootout, or
I mean, they're gonna know what it is by
you clicked on the title, you saw the picture.
I guess the question is the C8 considered a supercar at this point?
I think so. It's got supercar performance.
100% think so.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't have a supercar price tag.
No, and
that doesn't define it.
It doesn't define it, and would probably, judging by the way we've scored things in the past, is going to help it considerably, because its low price is going to definitely figure in on our ratings. But I think what we're looking at, guys, really is America versus the world, because America only has one true sports car, as we all know. Sorry, Greg.
No, it's true.
Consider a Mustang a pony.
It's not a sports car though.
The Ford GT is what, a hypercar? Would you guys consider?
I would consider that. I mean, its price tag alone puts it in a different echelon than a Corvette. But I think what we're setting up here to do is compare America's now mid-engine sports car, which is a really big deal for the Corvette, obviously, against mid-engine cars from around the world. And we're going to look at some pretty top dollar cars that the Corvette might just beat in our, in our rating.
Rob, let me pull up our text message chain, because Greg, Rob and I were talking a little bit offline, and I know Greg and I had talked about this in the past too, about what cars we were going to include in this head-to-head challenge. And initially there were some cars on that list that were not mid-engine. But then Rob brought up a great point. Once we started talking about European cars, Japanese cars, there are enough options in the mid-engine arena that they can be well represented by pretty much every country that produces.
Yeah, we both decided that. I mean, originally we were kicking around 911s for Germany and like a Ferrari 812 for Italy and Godzilla, a GTR for Japan.
Exactly.
And we realized, wait a second, each of those countries actually has mid-engine offerings. So it would offer really a true head-to-head comparison to the Corvette, which the C8 is now a mid-engine car. And I think, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, I was going to say with the not announcement, but what GM just recently posted. Do we go with the Stingray, or do we come revisit this once the Z06 actually hits their configurators?
Yeah, that's tough. I think.
How long is it before we?
It's a while. That's the thing. It's a while before the reveal, and it's probably going to be. Well, I don't know, because if they go like Ford, the reveal will immediately have the configurator. But
I say we can come back to it. I mean,
we could also go for the big long wait, for the ZR1.
ZR1,
and then have a comparison where it's
literally is that even guaranteed.
If we keep putting it off, we might as well just put it off until there's an electric Corvette.
No. I mean, do it now with the base Stingray, and then skip the Z06, and later on do it just ZR1. Because you could compare that to the most. You probably, I should say, will be able to compare that to some of the most expensive cars on the planet, like true hypercars, like a McLaren P1, Ferrari, LaFerrari. Mid-engine cars in the multi-million-dollar range. Because if the Stingray is where it's at price for, compared to performance, you can only imagine where the ZR1 is going to be.
Unless they lose their mind and give it a $250,000 price tag.
Will it be a ZR1, or will it be, because wasn't the C7, wasn't there a ZL1, or was that also a ZR1?
I think Corvettes have recently always carried ZR1
since the C6.
Technically
since
the ZL1 for the Camaro. But your point makes sense, because like back in the 60s, late 60s, they had the 1969 Corvette ZL1, which was an extremely rare car, which had a 427 aluminum block in it, basically a racing engine. And I covered it on one of my rare rides columns. In terms of the convertibles, I think only 3 were ever made.
Isn't that the guy that thinks he found one?
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we? It turned out not to be so.
That's disappointing.
You got a hold of him.
For the viewers out there, I got a random email. Guy had seen my my rare rides on the ZL1 Corvette, the 69, and reached out to me by email and said, hey, I live in South Africa, and every day I pass this car on my way to work. And one day I just got out of the car to take a closer look at it. It's like up on blocks or something like that. It wasn't in good shape. And he took all these pictures and sent them to me. And like the dash plaque says ZL1 on it. And then he went under the hood and took pictures of the block numbers and stuff. And I did some research, and the block numbers matched that of an aluminum 427 engine. So I start thinking to myself, holy cow, like maybe they actually made 4 of them. And somehow this car got to South Africa. But upon delving deeper, I contacted General Motors, public relations and stuff, and they did some research and said, "Nah, sorry, that car originally came out of the factory with a 350." Someone bought like a 69 vintage crate 427 aluminum block and put it in that car, which couldn't have been cheap, and found the console, the little ZL1 console badge, and it was a fooler, but turned out to not be the real McCoy. So.
Imagine if it was almost like someone who did it from the factory, like they did the Camaros, like a Copo, like they just found that loophole and ordered it. And
one of the problems with GM when I do rare rides on GM cars, and as a matter of fact, by the end of the week, I should be having a very special Chevy edition for you all out there. But their records in terms of numbers built and stuff like that is horrendous. Like Ford and Mopar took copious notes on every car that left the factory. Chevy usually can only tell you how many, in 1969, how many cars were equipped with an aluminum 427. They can't break it down between Corvette, this, that, or whatever else, that was put in, which makes it difficult sometimes. But with the ZL1, the 1969, everybody sort of agrees that 3 of them were made. Don't ask me where that figure was derived.
It'd be interesting to find out how many are still on the road today, though. Not out of those 3, but just Chevys in general.
All 3 of the convertibles have been restored, and they know where they are. A couple of them get shown quite often. Actually, there's a white one, there's a yellow one. I forget what the third one was. It might have been silver. But the yellow and the white one, I've seen pictures all over the internet of those cars at big Chevy meets and Corvette meets and stuff like that. So
how do you have a car like that and not show it to the world? I mean, I get people wanting privacy and stuff, but
oh God, who knows, man?
I mean, some of those collectors, I don't get it. Like, it's not like your stuff is stolen,
Yeah, buy it, stick it in a garage, and look at it every once in a while. I don't quite get that. I mean, I get the fact that if you've got a really, really rare car, the first time you take it out on the road, you are going to get a stone kick up and possibly, a little paint chip or something. So if you're trying to keep a car pristine, I can understand trailering it, say, to a racetrack and not driving it on public roads. Yeah. But to just leave it in a garage and, you're going to die. And then the guy who ends up with the car after you is going to get all the joy out of it while you just sat there staring at it and you're, rubbing it with a microfiber every once in a while. So,
gentlemen,
but yeah, we're off track.
We got to build this car.
Yeah. So let's talk about the cars we did decide on, Vinny.
Yeah. So originally, Greg and I and you, Rob, we talked about the representatives for their respective nations, and we talked about because you asked me, you were like, so what are we going to do for the next series? And I said Corvette versus like Italy, Germany, Japan. And so you went right where Greg and I went, and you said, okay, so a Ferrari F8 Tributo or Tributo, and then a Porsche 911 and Godzilla, right? So GTR. But then we started talking, and Greg and I had talked about an R8. And so then you said, actually, an R8 would make a lot more sense because it's mid-engine. So that was a no-brainer. And then we were like, well, what about the GTR? What are we going to do? And then you brought up the NSX. And it was like,
see, I knew that's where you were gonna go, but
it's apples to apples.
But
dude.
they've got electric motors in them.
I know that, but I said the same thing. I wanted the GTR to be in it because I think they're weird, cool cars, and in terms of acceleration and stuff, it's arguably not even arguably, it is one of the fastest internal combustion engine cars in the world. 0 to 60, it's like a 2.5 0 to 60 time. I mean, it'll embarrass a whole bunch of cars that are more expensive and even have more power. But if we're going to do apples to apples, fellas,
I agree. I also think it adds an interesting element that the GTR doesn't, right? So first of all, every other car that we've selected will be mid-engine. So if we chose the GTR, it would be the one outlier. So it wouldn't be fair. And furthermore, it's all-wheel drive, so that even further differentiates it, right? And then the other thing too was they're kind of, well, other than the Corvette, there are a lot of them out there. They've been around for a while now, and you see them quite a bit. They're not of the same stature as the other cars that we're talking about, I think. In that respect.
I will 100% say the R35 GTR is pretty much an everyday car. I mean, it's a Corvette. I'm not talking about the C8. I'm just saying in general.
Right.
Dude, I mean, just look at how many of them are owned by 19-year-old YouTubers. And that's not a slam, but it's not uncommon. It's not rare. It's not special.
You see them quite a bit.
Yeah.
But then again, like the ultimate non-snobby mid-engine sports car is the Corvette. And you're starting to see a lot of them. They kind of trickled out. It took a while after the announcement, for me at least, to start seeing them on the roads. But now I see quite a few of them.
Would the GTR also be the only four-seater? Does the R8 have back seats?
The cars that we picked, what did we pick out of Germany? The R8?
The R8, because we talked about a 911, but...
Well, yeah, it would be the only four-seater, but that's by virtue of the fact that the engine's up front in the GTR. You can't really have a 2+2 or a four-seater with mid-engine car. I mean, it's been done, but the back seats are like, you could put like a baby in there, like a real human can't.
I'm with you guys. I would love to see the GTR on this list, but I think we're gonna have to save it for another comparison.
No, I think you're right. I mean, it makes sense when you say mid-engine. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But once we realized that there were offerings from each brand, it was like, why not?
Yeah.
And each country as well. If you're trying to represent mid-engine, we're actually kind of lucky Japan has a mid-engine car, because that's it's kind of, the NSX was always a very un-Japanese car to me, actually. The first iteration of it, when it was introduced I think it was in the late 80s, it was developed in conjunction with Ayrton Senna, the legendary Brazilian Formula One driver. He drove in Formula One for McLaren, whose engine partner was Honda. And he was the test driver on that car and helped them balance it for handling, had them help them tune the suspension, everything. He was all over that car. And if you go to YouTube, you can see clips of him test driving it at the Suzuka racetrack in Japan, where they still run the Japanese Formula One Grand Prix. And it was really a landmark car for Japan in a lot of ways. Mid-engine was really that was Europe's deal. If you wanted a mid-engine car for the ultimate in handling and balance, really up until the NSX, you had to buy a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something along those lines. Even Britain didn't really have too many. I don't know of any mid-engine cars that Great Britain had back in that era, like the 80s. Aston Martins have traditionally always been front-engine cars.
But they look good.
They look real good, and that was one of the cars we originally, Vinny and I, discussed. We both love the Vantage, which is a hell of a good-looking car, but again, it's a front-engine car. Yeah. But back to my point, the NSX was a real outlier, not just for Japan, but just worldwide. because outside of Italy, you never really saw mid-engine supercars. So it has a legacy behind it. And people who own them and have driven them say it's one of the best handling cars on the planet, that the current NSX could take on just about any mid-engine offering from, the Italians. So I think it's a worthy.
I'm looking at our text message chain here, Rob, and we talked about Aston, we talked about McLaren and Lamborghini as well. But when we started talking about Lamborghini, you and I both agreed that I think Ferrari is really the Italian representative here.
Oh, well, certainly, in motorsports, Italy lives and breathes by Ferrari. Lamborghini in Italy, it's a hallowed car, but it's not Ferrari. Ferrari is Italy.
Yeah. Lamborghini just, the brand, they should just stick to making tractors.
I don't know, man. I've never been afraid of seeing a Ferrari with no rear bumper. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is the one time I will defend a Lamborghini.
Yeah, I gotta be honest.
Disparage a Lamborghini in any way, shape, or form, because I cut off a small body part, finger or toe, mind you, for a Huracan or a Aventador. But really, if we're going to represent Italy, it's got to be a Ferrari. And if we're going to do mid-engine, the current mid-engine Ferrari is the F8 Tributo. So that's our car from Italy.
Yeah, I like it. And I'm being a little bit selfish here, because I'm sure that there are people out there who want Lamborghini to be represented, but frankly, I've just never been a huge Lamborghini fan. Like some of the classic ones, like the Countach models, are really cool. Is it Countach or Countach?
Countach.
Yeah. So those are cool. Like the one from Wolf of Wall Street, that white one's cool. But they're just they're just ridiculous. And ostentatious. They have these big spoilers and crazy aero, and I don't know. To me, Ferrari's just always been so classy, and
Well, the reason why you referred to the word tractor, in case people out there don't know, Lamborghini was actually a tractor manufacturing company, and he tried to enter a deal. Federico, I think his name was, Lamborghini, was in negotiations. His company wasn't doing so well, and he was in negotiations with Enzo Ferrari to have Ferrari buy Lamborghini as a separate brand. And for whatever reason, the deal fell through, and there was some bad feelings left between the two men. And that led to Lamborghini getting into building sports cars, because he really wanted to say F you to Enzo Ferrari, and said to the people in his companies, we're going to build better sports cars than Ferrari from now on, and slammed his fist down on a table.
How long ago was that?
It was in the 1960s. The first Lamborghini sports cars were early 60s cars.
Yeah, so it took them like almost 70 years to fail.
Well, they didn't quite fail, because in 1968, Lamborghini released a car called the Miura. And the Miura, which had a rear engine V12, was for a short period of time the fastest car on the planet. It was capable of 180 miles an hour and just about 5 seconds on the nose, 0 to 60. Which was like mind-bending in 1968. And when that car was released, it was faster than any Ferrari you could buy. So for a brief period of time, he succeeded in saying F you to Enzo Ferrari. Since then, Lamborghini has gone through a succession of owners. We know Chrysler actually owned Lamborghini for a period of time in the 80s and 90s, and then it changed hands over and over again. It's currently owned by Audi. So the underpinnings of the Lamborghini Huracan are the same underpinning, same drivetrain and everything as the Audi R8.
Really?
Which a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
It's basically the same car with different bodywork and interiors.
I had no idea.
The engines are the same. Like
built in Ingolstadt, Germany by Audi, not built in Italy by Lamborghini, as far as I know.
Well, then that tells us all we need to know, right? That's why it's not on the list. That can be our justification beyond.
Yeah, but the sad thing is the fact that they're now owned by a German company. They make better cars than they ever did in the past. I love a good plate of pasta and everything. So please, all the Italian folk out there, don't send me hate mail. But my dad drives a Maserati. They are not the best built cars on the planet, and the same thing can be said for Ferrari. And up until VW took over Lamborghini, the same thing could be said. But now Lamborghinis, you can basically use them as a daily driver. They'll turn 100,000 miles on without the engine having to be rebuilt or anything. So,
gentlemen, I feel like I need to remind all of us that this is a Corvette episode.
Well, this is what happens when you get three gearheads together on Zoom. It gets ugly.
That's true. Yeah. But so, if nothing else, we've explained to our audience why we've made the choices we've made. And the first episode, of course, has to be the Corvette. Greg, do you have the configurator already pulled up?
I have Chevrolet's website already pulled up. So let me pull this up. Share screen.
I read an article a long time ago, around 2009 it would have been, because the ZR1 had just come out, the C6 ZR1. Arguably one of my favorite Corvettes of all time, favorite cars of all time. And they touted the Corvette as the best car of all time for the money, right? And they made a point of saying, whoever the author was, I should probably go back and find out who it was. I probably know him. But they basically said that, the Corvette would always have that stigma to go along with it. It would always have that, that justification for the money. Mm-hmm. And I think now more than ever, we're going to see that that's true.
I think also it's always carried the stigma that no matter how good the car is, people are willing to dismiss it in some way because it's American,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. That's a stigma that America has always, look at Ford versus Ferrari. Let's go back that far. Mm-hmm. That's an American stigma that we seem to carry. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, because largely America, the American car market, especially back then in the 60s and 70s, was building these boats that were unsafe at any speed, and had
unsafe to the people around them.
Yeah, they had massive 7-liter engines that would put out, 195 horsepower. There was certainly some engineering lacking, but as we've discussed in previous episodes of this, the American manufacturers have made bigger strides in quality and performance than any other nation's cars on earth in the past 20 years. And absolutely. I will argue that, I will have a knockdown, drag out brawl with anybody who disagrees with that. It's just true.
Well, anybody that wants to argue that, they can come to my house. They can sit in my 94 Mustang and they can sit in my 2020 Mustang and tell you there wasn't just a huge culture shift in the design.
It was as if the American auto industry discovered fire, like somewhere along those lines.
Yeah. But the car we're about to build is emblematic of that. This is not your grandma's Corvette. Sorry to come up with a corny ad slogan, but this thing is mid-engine. This thing is fast as hell. It looks good, and it's $60,000. And
I'm looking at the banner here, and it says the coupe as shown, $79,935.
That's convertible as shown, $90,125.
But if you look up above where it says 2021 Corvette, right below that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
59.9. So
You got to read the fine print. That's what it is.
I mean, you could walk out of a showroom with, you know, it's not going to have all the bells and whistles, obviously, for $59,000.
But it's going to be nicely equipped. Let's be honest.
And it's going to be faster than most cars on the road. So yeah, I'm excited to build it here.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The base model of this is still pretty impressive. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We went to breakfast a couple weeks ago, and there was a little I don't want to say an old man club with their nice cars parked, you know, at the Cocos, but there was. And it was funny because not only did Jamie recognize the C8 Corvette as a C8 Corvette, she picked up on all the cues that they were trying for. It blew me away. Like, she picked up on it. She's like, that's a Corvette. And it's trying to look like a this, and it's doing this. And I'm sitting there just looking at her like, when the hell did you learn about exotics? Like,
yeah, I mean, they did borrow, you know, ideas from other marquees, the hood in particular. If you're watching this little repeating video, you'll notice that the folds and stuff on the hood are very Lamborghini-esque. But, you know, Picasso once said, good artists borrow and great artists steal. And, you know, they took a little bit of something from everywhere and made what I think is a very, very cohesive.
It's a great looking car, but I remember when it came out, I was like a little bit underwhelmed. And I think that's only because it was following the C7, which to me is the greatest looking Corvette ever.
I will give you that. That car is gorgeous.
I mean, this car was a paradigm shift. I saw it. What year was it?
2019.
2019. I covered the LA Auto Show for Street Muscle, and I saw it in the flesh for the first time. And you know, they had a car at the show which wasn't the best color. I hope it's not the color we end up picking. A ceramic gray, like a very light gray.
I know exactly what
color
you're talking
I really like on Porsches. I see it all the time, but on this Corvette, it just didn't look right. And I was a little underwhelmed, but the more I took it in, you know, the more I appreciated the design. So,
well, speaking of color, now I'm all excited.
All right.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Fist fight here.
So obviously we're going with the coupe, right?
Of course.
Okay. Just making sure.
Although a Corvette or a convertible is not bad in a Corvette, in my opinion.
No, but I'm a coupe guy.
For sure.
These things.
And I'll say right now that to me, there's only two colors on a Corvette, and this is one of them right here.
I'm not going to go that
look bad in red. I'll say that.
All right. So first off, before we start talking about colors, and I'm going to say right now, this red, too close. I mean, that's too easy for somebody to call it a Ferrari wannabe. I'm right now, I'm going to veto the red because we have to make it.
It does look like a Ferrari. It looks exactly like a Ferrari.
I'm just saying. All right. So we're going to go 1 LT, 2 LT, or 3 LT.
We got to max.
Got to go 3.
Yeah.
3. I mean, looking at the price, it's not that bad to go 3 LT.
72.
I do have to bring up my refrain that I always bring up from the past 3 builds that we've done. And that is, it really hurts me that there is no manual transmission available for a freaking Corvette. That's just not right.
Yeah.
It's just not right. And I wish in the Z06 or the ZR1 that they offer a manual. I mean, I know where the industry is going. I know that modern dual clutch automatics just blow away, you know, a manually shifted car on a drag strip, but it's a Corvette. Come on.
I mean, as long as it's a dual clutch transmission, I'm getting to be more accepting of it. As long as it's not a torque converter transmission.
If you have 3 pedals in this Corvette, you run the risk of scuffing your New Balances. So, you know, I mean, that's something to consider.
But man, New Balances are made to be scuffed. Those are work shoes. You got to mow the lawn in those. Oh yeah.
Tune your carburetor.
It's just a shame to me, but you know what? I'm going to say that again. I mean, it's even uglier to me that you cannot buy a modern Ferrari with a stick shift. So
That's great. That's crazy. That's even crazier to me than the Corvette.
I'll temper my disappointment knowing that we're going to build a Ferrari soon that I can't have in a manual either. So.
Rob, when you saw the C8 at the LA Auto Show, did they display it with a C8R next to it?
With the what? I'm sorry?
The C8R.
I don't even know what the R is. Was that the racing version?
Yeah, like the racing version.
I don't think so. I think it was just a standalone rotating. It was a rotating display, like in this color, or no, ceramic matrix gray metallic.
So when I saw it that same year at SEMA, they had it displayed right next to a C8R, which was incredible. It had like wide body. It was awesome.
That's the IMSA racing version.
I believe so. And I remember my thoughts being like, you know what? I don't really like, I'm not super excited about the C8 and its, stock configuration. But having that car right next to it, you can see like, okay, the Z06 might look like that. And so then that's when I got really excited about the C8.
Yeah. I like I said, I was a little underwhelmed, but then I took it all in, and you also had to swallow the fact that it was a paradigm shift. It was kind of heretical for them to go to a mid-engine, even though we all know if they wanted to pursue the Italians, they had to.
Well, not to mention there are people who argue that it was mid-engine because the center line of the engine was behind the center line of the front wheel.
Right.
Or the people that will argue that this was Zora's vision to begin with.
Yeah. Right, exactly. He wanted a mid-engine car for the first gen.
Can I just say that red that was on there just a second ago, that burgundy color, that's sexy. I like that.
I can't believe that I want my number one color on this is the red, or this red, the red.
Yeah, they're looking at this now. They've changed their color offerings, I think, a little bit since last year. And I don't love there's not a lot of they're mixing here. There's a whole bunch of grays, and
the yellow is too close to that high vis. I'm sorry. What do they call it? High shock.
What was it in the Camaro?
Yeah, the shock yellow, the construction worker vest yellow.
What about that rapid blue? What does that look like?
It looks like a Ford GT, dude.
But of the colors offered, I mean, it's like white, black, silver, gray. I mean, God, man.
Well, that's because GM knows that the Corvette is supposed to be red. So
yeah, but I mean, this is gorgeous.
I like it.
The only thing that worries me about it's the tinted clear coat. So if you get a scratch, you are screwed.
But if you buy the C8, you're not going to drive it. It's going to sit in your garage and you're going to wipe it around.
If I'm buying a Stingray, Corvette, we're not talking Z06, I'm going to drive the wheels off this thing.
Yeah,
it's a race to 200,000.
Even though it's not a color I would probably gravitate towards, for us to pick. Like, I would just like to see an emerald green in there. I would like to see an orange in there. I mean,
can we see it in black?
What's this business with like 3 grays and a
black looks? That's the other color, black and red.
Black always works,
That looks boring to me. It hides some of the car's lines. I don't like it.
Well,
I want
to as a black Challenger owner, it's just keeping black looking good is the biggest nightmare.
That's the color. Don't at me. Don't argue with me. That's
the color. That's the color right there. You know what would be nice, and I can't believe I'm going to say this: a deep like that blue, that antimatter blue.
Like a dark blue. Yeah. They don't offer any of these colors. What's the Elkhart Lake blue look like?
Yeah, that does. That's kind of lame. They don't have.
It's kind of purpley and flat. Like, I know that's just the picture, but
that's okay.
All right.
That's not the right color. Dude, you know what else was that color? A 1997 Plymouth Neon. Not even the Dodge Neon. The Plymouth Neon came in that color. I'm not even kidding.
Show the white again, Greg.
The white. I could go with white. It's a little plain for me, but it's got enough contrast with the black accents and stuff.
I like it, man. That's what Don Johnson would drive. That's cool.
It should be Kardashian white.
Now, you
No,
know what
that's-
I would love to see? Like a gunship or a Nardo gray.
Like
So
a
like,
gunmetal gray.
Not on this car.
like
No.
this is way too light and there's too much like pastel blue in it. You can see
Yeah,
it.
that's the color that the 2019
I like the white because that's like what Tubbs and Crockett would cruise around in. That's the cocaine coupe, man. I like it.
Cocaine coupe. I love it. If we're gonna vote and just get past this, my number one is torch red. My
second
number
that.
two.
What about red mist?
I'm just not.
I like the regular red.
And you know what red mist reminds me of? Every single time I've gone to rent a car and I say, hey, can you find me one in a decent color? Sorry, all we have is red mist metallic, and it looks like a rental car to me.
I wouldn't go that far. I do like that color,
Well,
but
he does have a point because I don't know how many rental vans we've had that were that color.
But if you rent like a Mustang convertible in Southern California, invariably it's going to be in, like metallic maroon or something. It's just
look, to me, this is the color because you're buying this car to make a statement, and that's the statement.
I'll vote for that. I could also see black. I love black on cars. It's a pain in the butt to keep clean and looking good. But amongst the offerings, I
vote torch red.
Torch red.
All right, that's fine. Good God. I mean, that doesn't like just do it for you?
No, that makes it a little bit more boring. Like the torch red it pops, man.
Okay, see, I feel like the exact opposite. I feel like the torch red, at least in these pictures, is a little bit flat.
Hey, GM, offer a better spade of colors, okay?
Yeah,
on all your vehicles.
Yeah, you can fly past the stripes, man. If you're gonna put stripes on a Corvette, you're lame.
Well,
what about
what do they look like?
Let me see black. Let me see like some black stripes.
Don't do it, Vinny. Don't do it.
See the...
Good God, man. Oh,
we're talking like 90s Ferrari here.
That looks like one of the special edition Ferraris, like
If they were green, if it was green and white, yeah, for sure.
Let's see. What's the?
Yeah, I mean, I say no on the stripes, but I just want to see what they'd look like.
Let's see what. Oh, you can't even get that. Okay, so let me pull that off. I don't want to accidentally leave it on. No, this car needs to be clean. Clean lines.
What's next? Interior color?
Yeah.
Black. If they have Alcantara,
can we change it? Can we change anything? Because I believe that 3LT gave us the upgraded seating, so we may have to.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It might look good with like a tan leather interior.
Yeah, because Ferrari's big color match is not black. The big color match for Ferraris is Rosso Corsa red with tan.
Yeah,
but like right here, look, we got a black and red with microfiber inserts.
Let's see it.
We've got to do some upgrades, which I'm okay with. I'm totally okay with it. You have to add a suede microfiber wrap steering wheel, so Alcantara, but without the proper.
Let's see it. Let's see what it looks like.
Ooh, yeah. See, that's I'm kind of into that.
If the car was black, I could see it.
That looks like Shaquille O'Neal's Corvette, if you ask me. It looks like a pair of his sneakers, or Air Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the interior like that. I just think that the red paint with that interior looks kind of a little bit too much.
Okay, so you guys are saying tan?
Try the natural Napa leather tan.
Ooh, I like that gray. That was cool.
See, I'm not digging this because there's still too much black.
Agreed.
Oh, see, I love a black interior, but I mean,
I don't like. Yeah, what's up with that? If you're gonna do tan, do tan. Don't do tan and black.
What Ferrari does is they have a black dashboard, but if you select tan, the doors, the console, everything is tan. Except
give me like a diamond stitched seat with tan leather. It would look good.
Let's go black, guys. I can't handle.
Vinny said
what else do they have?
Vinny said something about the gray. Let's look at what the gray does. Oh, that's cool, but it's not.
Hey, is there a white? I wonder if you can get some white seats in this.
I don't know what I've done, but I've just completely limited the
all the interior colors.
I've broken this.
I think we have to deselect packages. We have to go forward. Wait, no. I think we have to deselect packages and go forwards to enable the full complement of interior colors.
What?
We changed something.
Yeah, look at that. As I'm going forward, it's just completely cutting down. So, okay, so let's, what if I do that? Interior color. What if I deselect that? Select. Yeah, I've messed this up royally.
Refresh this thing, Greg.
Will we lose everything?
We only picked a color.
So let's go back to color, see if.
And now refresh.
It's a good. The more I look at this thing, the more I like it. That's a good looking car, man.
No, because now somehow we're stuck on the black and red accent.
Uh-oh.
Which again, I don't mind this at all. I mean, that doesn't bother me, but I don't know how to undo that.
Yeah, I don't care for it. I think this is all part of Greg's plan.
Go forwards to packages and scroll through and see if anything's checked, because anything from this point forward that's checked.
Oh, like, there's a whole interior section coming up.
Okay, so do that. That's why we're not seeing all the interior colors. There you go. GT2 bucket seats. I bet you that. Yep.
The competition sport seats. What's the one right below it?
Get rid of two-tone seats. And adrenaline red custom leather stitch. Gotta go.
Well, the configurator's not letting me unselect anything.
Yeah.
Like no matter what I do, it's just trying to add it. It's not trying to undo it.
So should we start all over?
I think so.
Probably.
I done messed that up. So
it's all right. Greg was trying to add all the colors to the interior.
I want a Harlequin interior, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Motor oils and additives are the two most important pillars of the German company Liqui-Moly. Beyond that, the company sells service products, car care, greases, pastes, underbody protection, and windscreen adhesives. They also offer the tools and equipment required to use those products effectively. There are a total of more than 4,000 items, which make Liqui-Moly a globally unique, full-range retailer for automotive chemicals. Along with cars, Liqui-Moly also has its own product range for motorcycles and bicycles, for commercial vehicles and construction machines, for garden devices and industrial applications, as well as for boats and small aircraft. In order to ensure the consistently high quality of its products, Liqui-Moly produces its oils and additives exclusively in Germany. So, if you want to check out the high quality products of Liqui-Moly, go to liquimoly.com. That's LIQUI-MOLY.com.
We're back. No longer experiencing those technical difficulties with the configurator. Greg, where were we?
All right. So color, interior color.
I say we stick with black for now. And
just stick with the
standard black. I mean,
okay.
Black.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would like, hopefully we can do it in the interior. I would like to upgrade to the suede or micro suede stuff.
Well, it might be under the interior section, which is coming up.
So we'll just go to packages and
yeah.
All right.
I just want to say I really like that steering wheel.
I'm gonna say I want to see
steering wheel.
I want to see how it feels on like a road trip.
Must be an Air Force thing, Vinny. That's what I'm thinking. It's like the yoke of a of a plane.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I'm not a pilot.
No, but you were in an airport.
Could be the aesthetics, yeah.
So I guess if tradition serves, we got to go with the Z51, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not. There's no way I'm not doing it.
Okay. Will it put a massive wing on the back of the car? Drum roll, please.
I just care about the Brembo. I really don't care if it has a big wing. I hope it doesn't, but oh, it's taken away our whoa. This car comes bone stock with 245s
up front.
Yeah, that still seems like it would push in corners.
And 305s in the rear. I don't know.
That's weird. Like that seems like a huge split, but then again, it's balanced. It's a mid-engine car. Shut
They're
up.
Sport 4S tires.
You do get a heavy duty cooling system, performance ratio rear axle, performance exhaust.
I do see Z51 rear spoiler spec there.
So
So
let's see.
you know how I feel about
Oh!
this.
It's just a
that's
little.
okay.
It's just a little guy.
That's okay. Now that's the kind of spoiler that should be in these packages, not that GT 500 ultra retardo rear wing that we're stuck with.
Is that Italian?
Yeah,
That's the Italian name. All right, engine. What's the engine appearance package?
I think it lights the engine bay, which
And it's got a carbon fiber something. You know, I'm gonna want to do that. Let's see.
That's cool. Yeah.
So where is that interior pictures?
You gotta now change the view on the exterior. One more.
Oh, probably right
Close
there.
up of the engine bay? No, I
What
guess
is
not.
down? Oh,
It lines both sides of the engine bay with LED strips, so like at night the engine's all lit up.
all right. You
Like-
know,
It's like
my,
underglow. Like
it's my
on
Corvette.
Fast
I'm
and the
gonna
Furious.
spend $1,000 because it's got carbon fiber that makes it faster, right?
Ugh, to me,
I don't care, but if you want it, fine.
Yeah, that's all you, Greg.
Plus, the LT2 is a
Look, man,
kick-ass engine.
We
so
could select every single option, and this car won't cost as much as any of its competitors.
true.
That's true.
True. We still haven't even broken 80K yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, an F8, when we get to the Ferrari, man, you know, stuff like an LED panel on the passenger side of the dashboard, which shows it's a speedometer and a G meter. That's like a $15,000 add-on. It is literally a 6-inch LED screen.
Dude, www.ebay.com.
Yeah, but those aren't, you know, massaged into place with the finest Italian like butter and
by little Italian men with white gloves on.
yeah.
So appearance package, I'm guessing that's a complete no.
Whoa.
No, not for
Nope.
me. Nope.
I don't hate it. I like it better than the stripes that were on there before, but I also would not select it.
Okay.
Nope.
That doesn't do anything for me, so I don't.
Did we
No,
pass anything, Greg?
no, we haven't passed it
Just
yet.
a
We still got.
roadside
Wait,
safe.
it comes with a first aid kit and what else? Highway
That's an
safety kit.
option, Vinny.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that's an option. $175 for a first aid kit and a
That
highway
seems like
safety kit.
That actually seems like a pretty good deal. $175 for both of those things?
Can I be
eBay.
honest though? When I hear
eBay, you buy a bunch of Band-Aids or on
Listen, I know, but it's not. They're not going to have like a Corvette case.
dude, but look at this. Look at this. I'm sorry, dude. If I'm reaching for a first aid kit, I'm reaching for a blowout kit because there's a pile up on the freeway or something.
Yeah.
Look,
These
man.
Band-Aids.
I'm disturbed that the Band-Aids don't have a bow tie logo on them. So I say no.
Look, all I'm saying is, imagine you're maybe not this car, but like a classic Corvette, right? If for some reason they were offered with a first aid kit and you purchased that car and it came with a first aid kit, you'd be stoked.
You'd be stoked. I have a 71 Mercedes 280 SL that I bought from the original owner, and it had the original Mercedes toolkit in the trunk. And he said to me, when you take this car to car shows, leave the toolkit home. And I said, why? And he said, you can't buy them anymore. People steal them because they're worth about $15,000.
Whoa.
So, yeah, if this was a 1963 Vet or something and it came with the toolkit or the first aid kit, I'd be like super jazzed. But
all right, maybe I'm just being like, like I'm in the mood to be like the douchey Corvette guy who has like Corvette sunglasses and the Corvette hat and like Corvette lawn chairs.
Dude, look, it's got a little
Mylar, your Mylar jacket with Corvette written down the arm.
It's got a Corvette crowbar here, so like
that's cool. I would want that.
You guys knock yourself out.
$175. You want to spend
we don't
it?
have to get it. I'm just saying I think it's cool.
All right. So let's go with exterior. What are we doing exterior wise? All right, wheels. Oh, here we go. Black, just for you.
Look, can we just
Ugh, don't do that.
let's see what else. is there? Is there a different
Uh,
style of wheel? Come on. Is
There
that all we get?
Yeah, we got this Spectra.
Oh, I like that better.
Of course you do, because it looks like the Mach 1 wheel.
Let's see the silver version of this.
That's the one. For me, anyways.
Can we see the side view?
Oh, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I like those better than the gloss black.
And I like them better than the first one.
Those are, see, to me, I'm not gonna lie, these wheels look very Ferrari-esque.
I was gonna say those ones make it look like a Ferrari.
They're extremely Ferrari-esque.
And I'm actually gonna say it. I don't like the black wheels on here.
Nope.
They don't look good, and they don't look good not only because they're black, but because they're gloss black.
Yeah, I don't like gloss black at all anymore. I think it's played out. If you're going to go for black wheels, it's got to be matte or satin at this point.
Oh yeah.
See the black with that's kind
I
of.
know
cool.
you like them because those are 5-spoke.
Well, no, these are the ones you like because they're the same thing as this, just with the back, the SRT4 looking part blacked out.
I just don't. I don't like those because it makes it look like it's like a 5-spoke wheel, like the C5 wheels.
I think I kind of agree with Vinny that these
Okay.
silvers are the way to go.
All right.
I like.
I'm just gonna replace them with aftermarket anyway. So
Yeah.
What?
yeah, something with a nice concave face and 5 spokes and.
Maybe some HREs or something. I don't know.
All right, so we can't touch the tires because they were part of the package.
Correct. The question is, if you look down, the magneto-heretical, whatever, selective ride control, can you have that with the Z51?
Where am I not seeing?
Right,
this?
you were just hovering over it. Go up. Okay. Go down 2.
Oh, okay.
Magnetic selective ride control.
Now, how is GM system versus? Nope.
Nope. Doesn't matter.
All right. What did we buy that pumped us up? The wheels. Okay, I didn't realize it was that much of an upgrade.
I didn't even know this.
$1,500.
That's relatively expensive
Yeah.
for OEM upgrade.
So then we've got what?
More wheels. What are those? Forget the black.
Whoa.
Just forget the black.
But I don't understand what.
What I would like to see are the pewter wheels below that.
I like that.
Are those brass or?
Oh, those a little too yellow. But it's hey. It's a red car. It might be able to pull these off. But that's the OEM wheel. That's the one we just made fun of for looking like a Ferrari wheel, though.
Well, throw it on. Just see what the pewter looks like. Oops. Configure.
Try cycling through the. Yeah, there you go. Wah, wah, wah.
You would think if they want to sell those things for $2,700, they would at least let it appear in the.
Yeah, let you see it.
Yeah.
Wow, wheel lock kit under $100.
Really?
Yeah.
Sensational.
Can we make that Rob's catchphrase?
Yeah.
Sensational.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt that just says "sensational" across my chest.
Carbon fiber dual root. What is this?
For $3,500.
Can I just see it?
They should bring back the luggage rack like they had on the C3.
So you have to buy a storage bag
Okay.
Okay.
if you do this.
Is it like,
Nope.
what did you just add to it? The roof?
Yeah, you are not going to tell me that's how it renders. Come on.
It's too much. You know what? With the side gills, the air intake's black. It's too much black to have it on the hood as well. Although I think later in the configurator, if we want the side gills to be body color,
match,
we can do that. Yeah, but
I like the black though.
So do I. I mean, honestly, I would never pay
It's
$3,500.
$3,500, guys. Have you lost
I
your
know.
mind?
I
No,
would
not,
never
I'm not talking
ever
about the
pay
roof.
that.
The roof is dumb. I like the side.
Oh, the scoops being
Yeah.
black. Yeah, I actually like them black too. But the black roof, I'm gonna pass on for that much.
I would
money.
never pay that much money for it, but I of course,
Even
it's
if
carbon-
I had money to burn, I don't option cars like that. I just
transparent
Stupid.
roof panel.
Ooh,
What do we do? What is this?
it's
It's-
just clear. You can see.
this is
just
what
glass.
Crockett and Tubbs would drive.
No, they
Well, you
would just
gotta
have, they would. It would be gone. The target top would be off, and
And Don's hair would be blowing in the Miami breeze.
yeah, and Crockett would be shooting like an Uzi or like a Mac 11 out of the roof.
Oh, it's not just the carbon fiber that's 3,500. It's the T-top, so it's the dual roof.
I
Right?
see.
Because here's a color match dual roof. I mean, am I right? Is that what the dual roof is?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't care for either one. I'd rather have the solidity and
Okay.
wait. So it doesn't come like from the factory with a target top?
No, it's a hard
What?
top.
Oh, then I definitely want the target top.
But wait a sec. Think about this. If you're tracking this car, the last thing in the world you want to do is cut off the roof because it affects the structural rigidity of the entire car.
I'm not tracking this car. I'm driving this thing down the coast highway,
If you're
and I'm going to drive
this
it to my local Cars and Coffee.
If
and
you're
I'm
going to
gonna-
do that, at least let it be body color and not transparent.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, no. You can't do transparent dual roof.
I don't know. What do you think, Greg? I like the car. The target top is a feature of the Corvette that I've always liked.
See, to me, I would have optioned a convertible at the very start of this process if I wanted an open roof. I picked a coupe because coupes have better structural rigidity. They have less vibrations. And if you're serious about driving, you always go for a coupe. Always go for a coupe.
See, this isn't a race car though. This is a street car.
Yeah. If we were building a Z06, like, yeah, you know, they won't even offer one.
But wait a second, time out, guys, because you have a double standard. When we were building muscle cars, you guys were saying, oh, we gotta, you know, if you want to drag this car, you gotta have the wide body package.
Because you do that. You drag race your muscle car.
And what's to stop you from road racing this thing?
Oh, I'd put this thing on Willow Springs. Don't get me wrong. It's not a race car though.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
All right, you know what? I don't care about this. Do what you want, but I in reality, I would never opt for that. If I think in my hair, I would get the full convertible.
The performance difference would be negligible, in my opinion. I don't know.
I hate you guys. No, I really don't care. It just wouldn't be the way I option.
It's a really expensive option. So like, I don't know. I could go either way.
Read this though. It comes with the body color roof panel, a transparent roof panel, and a storage bag.
Ooh, a storage bag.
Well, I'm saying, so you do get the clear one as well.
Does it have the Corvette logo on the bag?
It better.
That's the make or break for me.
I will say this:
plain black, Vinny's out, but it's got to have a bow tie or a Stingray logo on it.
If we're going for the dual roof, then the carbon fiber is only $1,500 more. It's not $3,500 more.
Oh hell! All right. I'll go with Rob. I'll say no.
Okay.
Just make it a coupe for God's sake. It's the way God intended, guys.
Okay, so it's a coupe, but we can have the carbon fiber roof.
Yeah, but then it's fixed there, and it's only that panel.
The roof was the better part of $4,000.
Because look, this one's not the dual roof; it's a single roof, but it's removable.
This is so confusing.
I know.
Out of any of this.
I vote no. I say we leave the roof the way it is, and that's
Okay.
But that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Okay. So then we've got an engine cover. Do you want the red LT2 engine cover?
I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, and it does have that big back window that you can see through.
So it's made to match the body color, or it's that red, and it may not match the body.
Ooh, it features the crossed flags logo.
Let's see what it looks like from the top down.
Yeah, but the configurator is not going to show.
Actually,
It looks like a different red.
It does, but I still like it.
I like it.
I think I go with it.
And who cares? How much is it?
$525. Kind of expendy.
Come on, guys, treat yourself.
Knock yourselves out.
All right.
You can get it in silver too. That's cool.
You guys want to put a Ricer spoiler on it?
Oh god.
Yeah.
This I will fight.
Do it. Do it,
This
Greg.
I
Do
will
it.
Get angry about. Vinny's just doing this to torture me.
Let's see what it looks like.
Oh. Don't do it, Greg.
I just want to see what it looks like. Can we just
to see what it looks like? Oh, hey, you can do it. It doesn't pull the whole Z51 package off.
But guess what? It's not going to show it in the
You can order it a la carte.
It's not going to show in the pictures.
I didn't select it, did I?
Looks like.
No, you didn't select it.
Rob got all excited for a second.
God.
I don't know how I feel about this.
No, it's horrible.
Oh, God, it's horrid. It's horrid. Make it go away.
What's the high wing spoiler? The one right above it, Greg.
I think it's the same thing but body color.
Oh.
Vinny, did you used to pull the wings off of like gnats and butterflies and stuff?
No, not a sociopath.
That's what you're making me feel like right now. You're just doing this to torture me, man.
No, that's horrible, dude. Yeah, put the Z51 back on.
Please, thank you. Some sanity prevails.
No.
Yeah, that was really ugly.
Oh, so much better.
Who signed off on that?
I don't know.
Who said, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's put another spoiler on it.
Rocker panel extensions.
Those look pretty cool. Maybe.
Are they black?
I don't know. Let's see.
Body color.
I think they're black. Let's cancel. Yeah. So they're going to be black right there.
Well, you want to see how it looked?
Yeah.
Oh, that was splash guards. That's not what I meant to do.
No,
I like it.
I don't.
You can't even tell a difference. What the hell?
It picks up the black from the front splitter. I like it. I don't know if I like it $550 worth. But
$550. I can't even tell a difference.
Go to your precious eBay, Greg, and buy them.
I don't know if I could do eBay stuff. I don't know if I can do eBay stuff on a new Corvette. I don't know. I wouldn't go to eBay for my bearings. So
chrome exterior badge package.
Where do you see that? Oh,
so you get chrome stingrays.
Probably
on the nose, maybe.
Oh, I think right there.
Oh, no,
I don't think.
Not it for me.
All right.
Chrome, no.
Black is better.
Yeah.
Didn't they already try to sell us this?
You're that first piece of crap I didn't want.
Oh, what is this?
Front and rear grille accents.
This is what I was telling you, where we can change the intake.
Oh no!
No, I like the black intake ducts better.
No.
Wait, give me the front 3/4, Greg.
I think this over here too.
See, on a Ferrari, for some reason, it would look better body color, but on the Vet, it needs that contrast.
No, that's horrible. Why?
And it's $1,000.
Yeah, for paint.
No.
Wait, did it do the headlights too?
Yeah, it was multiple. There were multiple.
Yeah, it was headlights.
See, these guys.
That's what it was.
Front intakes and side intakes. That's a big no for me.
So what? Wait, what is the shadow gray? Does that
you can make them
black
gray instead of black?
Ooh, no,
black, dude.
Black.
Much better.
Visible carbon fiber grill.
Greg gets so crazy about carbon fiber. Dude.
He's like a child in this respect.
Wait, it's the splitter and everything. but it's also $2,000, so never mind.
And if you're going to drive it as a daily, it's going to be yellow in a year.
Yeah, the carbon fiber wing on the black car is
You know what?
kind of hazy.
Can I make the point of saying they're actually offering us too many options here? This is
Oh my
no,
God.
you can't say that.
From Rob, the guy who says
getting into Porsche territory where you can have leather on your AC vents, your interior AC vents. It's just like ridiculous.
Oh,
you were the one who was bashing every muscle car that we did because they didn't offer enough customized.
I didn't say that. I said that I hate when you select a package that within the package you can't customize it. Like, you know, have the Greg, what was the GT 500's
performance package?
It was just called performance pack. Yeah. Like if you could opt to have sans rear wing, like that's what I meant. But this is getting ridiculous where like different colors of mirrors and stuff.
See, I'm
confused the hell out of me.
I'm upset that you can't have a denim interior to match with yours.
So yeah, this is all car cover stuff. Do you want the $1,200 C8R cover?
No,
that's actually really cool, but no.
$1,200 cool?
That looks like a bed that children sleep in, where it's a race car bed.
It's just a cover. It's cool.
Oh, see, okay. Here's the thing.
No.
Do you want to take delivery at the Corvette Museum?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I wasn't pointing at it. I just. So, you get to go to the National Corvette Museum. Oh wow, you get it. Oh.
Who's paying airfare?
You'll receive delivery presentation followed by a drive-off ceremony. Holy crap.
Porsche does this where you can pick it up at the factory in Stuttgart.
They'll spritz you with your favorite cologne and dab you with a moist towelette. Jeez.
And give you a deep tissue massage. What a deal.
See, I've driven past the National Corvette Museum a bunch of times for Ford events, but I kind of think I might spend that money. Personally,
it's pretty cool, but $1,000, sheesh.
What is customer VIN ending reservation? You can select your own VIN number.
Wait, what?
No. Go one below.
There you go.
Yeah.
What?
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 God, why would you spend $5,000 to have a custom VIN?
So you can make the last 5-year VIN balls.
Wow, that might very well be the dumbest option I've ever seen on a configurator. $5,000. No thanks.
Sensational.
No thanks.
Now, what is this performance traction, man? What is this? Torque reduction.
Oh, that might be interesting.
It may require additional equipment.
How much is it?
It doesn't say anything. Nope.
Next.
Nope. Interior. Okay.
We haven't reached the interior yet?
No,
because there's so many options. That's what I'm talking about. Who cares what color your mirrors are?
Well, I want red seat belts.
Okay, do you really?
I mean, it'd probably look pretty cool.
Torch red seat belts, we got it. You want it, we got it.
For 400 bones.
Okay, we have to eliminate the black seat belts. I would expect that.
Oh man, looks so much better.
That is kind of fancy.
I like it.
I don't know about $400 worth.
Yeah.
But if you like it, I'm good with it.
If Vinny wants it. He is after all my boss, so I can't too strenuously. He's going to say, "Yeah, Rob, I'm going to send you to Vietnam to review the latest scooter."
That sounds awesome,
and
dude.
You're going to need to drive it through an active minefield.
Yeah,
No, that part doesn't sound like fun. The first part, you had me.
I had you at
Again,
Vietnam,
do you realize we could spend at this point, we could spend over $6,000 just on the carbon fiber upgrades.
Microfiber wrapped steering wheel.
Where'd you see that? This
A little
one?
further down, yeah.
Let's see.
you know what? Usually dealers well, let's talk about the steering wheel first. I was going to go on about floor mats.
Oh, wait a minute. If we add this, look what we have to add.
Nope. I am not having yellow seats in my Corvette. Sorry.
What the heck?
Yeah.
We're not making a McDonald's car.
Well, I'm saying, what else? There was another option, wasn't there? Nope, that's the only thing. Yeah, okay.
No.
You have to have yellow seats if you want a suede steering wheel?
Yep.
Most dealers, if you're buying an $82,000 car, they'll throw in the premium floor mats. But I always select them on the configurators anyway, because if you scroll up, you'll see them. They usually have like the Corvette logo on it or something. Oh, those are actually kind of crappy. What is that logo?
That's a silhouette of the car.
Ooh.
Forget that. I thought it was going to be like a big stingray on the floor or something.
So now, did the whole stingray thing die down a little bit after Steve Irwin got killed? Like,
what the heck?
You're really gonna go there?
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Like, did the conversation ever happen in any boardroom where it's like, hey, man,
I think it's too soon to talk about.
You know what, man? It bums me out because I've seen like a bunch of stuff online where people are like vilifying Steve Irwin, like now that he's gone. Oh, he shouldn't have been messing with those animals, this and that. And it's like, whatever, dude. I used to love that show
because he treated those animals so well. He was all about
that guy donated untold amounts of money to animal causes and preservation. So God bless.
Have you seen his kids following in his footsteps?
Yeah.
It's awesome people.
God bless the guy, man.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
That's ridiculous.
No, you can go pound sand on that one.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think if he were still around, he would definitely want some customized interior plaques.
I thought you were going to say he'd want a Stingray Corvette.
I'm going to pass on the premium.
Oh, do you want the bags? They're only $1,500.
$50? What a steal.
What are they made out of?
Perforated leather.
Steve Irwin.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Irwin.
Oh no!
Too soon, Rob.
They're made out of stingray skin.
If they came with matching gloves, I might say yes, but no.
Okay, did you want your first aid kit? Because you can get it separately, and it's $55.
No.
You want your Cross Flags Logos Highway Safety Kit? It's only $130.
It's pretty cool, but no.
Okay. Wait a minute.
AAA.
Is it cheaper to buy this separately, like a la carte, than it was as a kit?
Yeah.
No, it was 180.
Okay.
All right. And
Cargo management.
This is aftermarket kind of dealer tack on stuff.
Oh, come on. We need a roof carrier. Come on. What's this look like? Oh, they're not going to show it.
Yeah, I don't think any of these things actually show up on the configurator.
I need to carry my kayak on the roof of this thing.
They will sell you cleaning products from Adams. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
I wonder how Adams worked.
Yeah, how'd they get that contract? Sheesh.
Yeah. I bet you there's a lot of envious. I bet you chemical guys is real envious. For that.
Although I will say this, when I bought my Mustang, I had a friend of mine who saw the post on Facebook, and he sent me some Adams quick detailer. And I haven't been a huge fan of it. I love the way it smells, and that's probably 50% of a quick detailer for me.
I kind of mix and match my brands. On autogeek.net, they have their own brand called Pinnacle, which is really good line of stuff. But I have a couple of Adams. I have some Griot's Garage. Chemical guys, they make really good shampoos for cars. Chemical guys.
Yeah, that's all the shampoo stuff I have that I never use. Like I literally don't wash my car. I've got all the, fancy car wash stuff. I don't wash my cars. Like I'm lazy.
Put them through a drive-through and get them all nice.
Oh, God,
and
no. I literally, I mean, dude, we've had nothing but monsoons for the past week and a half. They've been washing my cars for me.
It's expensive, but it's not that bad. I mean, there's a place here close to me that does a hand wash for 40, and then like you get a full detail for 80. So
I don't trust anybody, especially I got a black Challenger. No one touches that car but me. Black, you can't mess with.
Dude, on my Camaro, it's 12 years old now. It's swirled up. It needs to be repainted, so I'm not that picky about it anymore. But
you'd be surprised though what a really talented guy can do with.
Well, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Like, I'm not that picky about it. Like, like let's say it takes me a whole day to detail it with a buffer and do the whole thing. That's a whole day of my time, right? And I could spend $120 and have the thing detailed and get all the swirl marks. They're not gone, but get it detailed really nice where it looks
with a microfiber pad and a modern dual action polisher. You can get like 90%, as long as it's not like through the clear coat into the
exactly.
You can get it out.
I have a guy, and he's local to me, $120 whenever, and he'll ceramic coat it, do the whole thing, and that's 2-3 times a year.
And now ceramic coating is now, the way of the dodo. They got graphene now.
That graphene, oh yeah.
You should see when water hits it, it like literally jumps off.
It runs away from it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But how much is that? I actually haven't looked into the graphene prices.
If you're going to apply it yourself, you can get like full on 90% graphene products for, it's like under $100.
So wait a minute. Is it like ceramic where if you do it yourself, you're getting like a subpar?
No, it is easier to apply than ceramic. Ceramic, I actually recommend if you're going to do a real ceramic coating, not like a spray.
Yeah.
Have a professional do it, because if you get it on too thick, you can actually see waves in the coating and it'll dry and you can't get it off. The only way you can get it off is to buff it off.
Yeah.
With graphene, it's you just put a few drops on an applicator and you do like a crosshatch application.
So I wonder how much somebody would charge me to do it, because I've learned that I don't have the patience for that kind of stuff.
I hate it, dude. I know people geek out on it and they spend a long time doing it. They get in their Zen mode and they do it. I'm like you, Greg. I want to go drive my car.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't, it's really not a complicated process. I've done it to my Challenger.
Because the thing is, I want to do it before my trip to California, because I don't want to show up with it's bad enough that I've got to drive, almost 400 miles, before.
Well, it certainly helps getting the bugs off and stuff. You just hit it with a pressure washer when it's graphene or ceramic coated, and the bugs just like fly off.
Yeah. So I'm gonna thanks, Rob. You just cost me some money. I knew graphene was on the horizon. I didn't know it had actually come out. So that's great. Cool.
Hey, what kind of tools do they offer for this thing?
Let's see. 46-piece kit.
That is straight from Home Depot with.
Well, it's Sonic. Here's the thing. Sonic, I've actually been hearing a lot about them lately. Ken Bionis of Palm Beach Dyno, I believe, I may be wrong, just outfitted one of his bays like with a bunch of their like high-end ready to go carts, and is really, really happy.
At $150, if
I'm not buying this.
Craftsman or Snap-on, I'm all in. You're gonna get
Craftsman. I don't know anymore, man. I don't.
Does it have a Corvette logo on it?
It doesn't show.
Doesn't show.
I can't buy it.
Craftsman, the quality gone down since Sears has gone bankrupt?
Yeah,
that's a shame, because I have all Craftsman tools here.
Well, as long as you have Made in USA stamped in them. They're the good ones.
Mine are from 15 years ago, and I've never had a tool fail or anything. I love my Craftsman, and it's cheaper than Snap-on, which is just ridiculously priced.
Well, I will tell you right now, the set of Craftsman that I bought, it had to be within the last 7 years. That just sits in the shop just for my mill and my lathe. They do not have made in the USA stamped in them.
That's a shame to hear. So it's coming probably out of China somewhere.
All right. So seriously, with the toolkits, are we
done?
I think we're done.
Okay.
Let's see what's going on with the summary.
82,350. That's net. So there's going to be a gas guzzler of probably $2,000. 1995, I think it was, on the Challenger and the GT500.
Well, let's see what the little excludes tax, title, license, dealer fees, but it doesn't say anything about the gas guzzler.
It only includes the destination freight charge of
Yeah.
$1,095. So we're probably talking more in the neighborhood of, I'd say, 85 all in. Does that sound right, guys?
Yeah. I mean,
but I mean, before we just went with whatever the website said, you know, because like Dodge included the gas guzzler tax, but like Ford and Chevy didn't on the muscle cars.
well, to be fair, they were the only ones that actually called it out as a line item.
Yeah, and I got news for you. When we configure Ferraris and stuff, they're not going to be telling you the gas guzzler tax, and you know, I don't even know if Ferrari gives prices, to be honest with you, on their website. So we might have
Some legwork to do.
Yeah, some homework to do.
I'm still pissed. I don't have my colored center indicator, and I don't have my suede.
But you do have eBay to buy a piece of tape
to
put around that notch in the steering wheel.
Come on.
Can we talk about the cockpit of this thing for a second? So this is obviously not the first time that Corvette has done that, like, you know, partition, if you will, center console. And I've never driven one, but I like the way it looks. I think it looks really cool.
I like the way it looks. I'm concerned, and have been since I first saw this layout, that every single button is on that strip. And what if you're at speed on the freeway and you are trying to just do something simple like heat your seat? You actually have to take your eyes off the road and look down and scroll through that little strip of seemingly small buttons. That might not be the best ergonomics that I've seen in an interior. I would have to sit in the car, like you said, Vinny, to really judge it. But that it's interesting you brought that up, because the first time I saw the car at the LA Auto Show, I was kind of like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Is anybody else getting a Mark IV Supra vibe from the layout?
What?
Like the Mark IV Supra, how it had that like cockpit that curved around in the center. It had the full driver's layout.
Yeah, but I mean, Corvette's been doing this for a long time too.
I know. I'm just not like this. Not the full.
I think you'll find the R8 and the Ferrari as well have very driver-centric things. Like everything is kind of angled towards the driver, but not to this degree, and certainly not. There's like literally a vertical shelf between you and your passenger. Does that feel kind of weird?
No, I like that. And I also like that the screen is angled toward the driver as well.
Yeah.
I'd like it also if it can be tilted. You know,
that'd be cool.
The passenger can rotate it so they can pick the music while you're doing 90 miles an hour.
Well, maybe it's like a QLED screen or whatever, so that even with the crazy viewing angle, they can still see it.
Could be.
I mean, I don't.
What's that thing there underneath the screen?
This guy
on the right. Yeah, that.
That looks like
might be the parking brake actuator.
Yeah, something goofy.
Yeah.
And notice it doesn't have a shifter at all. It has buttons for park, neutral.
Oh, really? And then you got the paddle.
I'll take it over a knob. That's for.
I would take it over a knob as well. But that's your gear selector to the left.
Is there a heads up?
Yes. We got it on the LT2 or 2LT and above.
Beautiful. And we're back, ready to score. What's going on, guys?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. So you said first one was horsepower and torque, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Power number.
If I remember off the top of my head, which I'm not going to trust.
Now, can I, before you start, Greg, let's remember that later on, we're going to be building competitor cars that may have in the neighborhood of 800 horsepower.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think we all know the competitor stats as well as we did in the super muscle car.
Well, I can tell you what the Ferrari and the R8 are, and they're considerably more than the Corvette. Where the Corvette makes up for it is going to be, I think, in terms of weight, which is how it competes with these cars performance-wise. But
okay. Well,
that should just be a caveat before we go giving a Corvette a 5 with 400 and whatever horsepower it's got. Just remember that when we get to the Ferrari, it's about 780 horsepower.
Yeah, I was going to give this thing a 3.5.
Yeah, because I mean, this is rated. I totally forgot that the Z51 added the what was it, 14 horsepower or something?
Yeah.
Through what, like a revised
different intake, I think.
Exhaust manifolds too. I think they did a little bit free flowing.
Yeah. What is the horsepower figure?
It's 490 for the base model, and I'm trying to pull up the Z51 because I want to say it was like 505, but I can't find that confirmed.
Nothing to sneeze at, man. 505 horsepower.
No, in a car this light, that's how it's able to fly. But you know, like I said, we're going to be comparing it to a Ferrari, an Acura NSX, and an Audi R8. So I'm kind of with Vinny. I think I'm like 3.5.
I mean, I'm torn here because, you know, touching that 500 mark, because I can't find anything that says, you know, officially 500.
Well, obviously with a revised intake manifold and exhaust manifold, you're going to gain at least 10 to 15 horsepower right there. So we can pretty much assume it's over 500 in the Z51.
And I mean, the LT2 is such a cool engine. And I mean,
yeah, but we're just talking about horsepower and torque numbers.
I know. And I want
to.
I
mean, you got to remember when we did muscle cars, Greg, you know, we gave the Camaro, you know, a hit because we were comparing it to two cars that had over 750 horsepower.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got to get a 3.5. If does it really even deserve that half? I mean,
that's where I was. I gave it the extra half just because, you know.
Yeah, and mind you, we're looking at a Z06 soon, which should have a decent boost over that, and then eventually, hopefully, a ZR1, which might be in the stratosphere. It could be over 800 horsepower. So
it'll be hydrogen powered, right, Greg?
Nope. Nope.
It'll have, what did the Back to the Future car have? I just wrote
plutonium.
that article. But what was the chamber called? The
flux capacitor.
Flux capacitor. I wrote that article a week ago and I've already forgotten.
Everyone, stop right now. Go open up another tab to O'Reilly Auto and look up part number 121G.
Yeah, I know.
The fact that I know the part number by heart.
Yeah.
Go look it up.
It's a great gag. Yeah.
And the fact they've dedicated it on how many different server switches.
Yeah. I know, it's great that they did that.
Yeah.
But I think we're all in agreement. 3.5, man. It still is only, sadly, 5, you know, these days you say only 500 horsepower. That's kind of incredible, but it is only 500 horsepower. And like I said, the other two cars are different league. So
yeah, it really is. I mean,
So what's next?
Handling, Nürburgring times, skid pad Gs, braking, etc.
All right, so let's do Nürburgring times to start.
And Greg, I think a good comparison, the F8 Tributo Ferrari is one of the best handling cars on the planet, and that will probably be our 5-point scorer. So if you could call up that data as well, like Nürburgring time and so forth, we could.
I really wish we had like a
comparison.
cool site that had all this. And if you guys are watching a Nova site that just has all the Nürburgring data compiled, that would be really cool.
Contact us.
Yeah.
Nürburgring.com.
So Haggerty says 7 minutes flat for the Tributo.
That's cooking, man. That's
But
16 minutes or 16 seconds faster than the ZL1.
Yeah.
And then that's 4 seconds faster than the GT500.
I thought the GT500 was at 7:11.
Was
No,
it? Okay.
no, the GT500 wasn't it the fastest?
Yeah, it
It was
cracked.
at 702 or 703.
It
or
was
something.
yeah, it was in the single digits.
So wait, seriously, the F8 is 7 flat. The
Yeah, but mind
GT500
you-
was that close?
But mind you, 2 seconds is, at those speeds
For
at the
sure. No,
Nürburgring,
for
it's
sure. But
several
still.
hundred yards. So
Okay, so if 7 flat is what you're saying our baseline or our 5 is, right?
What was the Hellcat? It was like 730 something.
738 or something.
hey, for a 4,500-pound car, dude, don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at that. Don't.
Oh,
Vinny's always got to turn the screw. apply the nipple clamps. Jeez.
this can't be right.
5 minutes and 32 seconds.
728.
Really? No,
Corvette? That can't be right.
I don't believe it.
Can't be right.
And I mean this article on Carbuzz, whoever I'm
And you know what? If we can't depend on these Nürburgring numbers, I say we go to skid pad and
'Cause I mean-
slalom numbers.
well, this is what they're saying. They're saying a C7 Z51 went 733. Other versions went 727 for the Grand Sport, 710 for the Z06, 704 for the ZR1. And it said it's also worth noting that new C8 is slower than the C6 ZR1 that went 719.
Well, but there's a horsepower difference.
But I mean, so this car is, I mean, the 728 they're reporting, it fits the overall theme. That the 728 is.
I'd venture to say we should also look at like slalom numbers and
I
stuff.
agree, but I mean, what you're saying, Greg, that's kind of shocking.
It's brutally shocking.
But
why I almost don't believe it.
yeah, but I mean, it also kind of makes sense.
It's
This is a
300
naturally
horsepower down.
aspirated, naturally aspirated LT2 only makes less than 500 horsepower or right around 500 horsepower. And all of those other cars made at least 150 horsepower more.
But here's the thing: you're still talking about a car that goes 0 to 60 in what is it, under 3 seconds? This car,
Yeah, but
and it's got incredible road holding and stuff. I think we're about to see. I don't understand where it's losing 30 seconds. I mean, basically, you're saying it's about as fast around the Nürburgring as a red-eye Hellcat. That can't be.
I mean, it's faster. It's 10 seconds faster than the Hellcat.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. But here's the rest of the and this is car and driver based. Okay. So
Okay.
whether you want to take it with a grain of salt or not,
No.
that's up to you.
I
So
trust car and
0
driver.
to 60, 2.8.
Right.
Damn, that's fast.
That is very fast.
Yes. There's
You
only
care?
a handful of cars on the internal combustion cars on the planet that can hold with that.
Yeah. Do we
And
care about?
you'd be spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to get
Yeah.
near that. which
I
is
think it
incredible.
was said that it is the only car with a 5-digit price tag to do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a
No
doubt.
doubt. No doubt.
So then we go. Do you care about any of the 0 to others?
Well, quarter mile.
Okay,
counts,
the
right?
quarter mile was only 11.2, and I think that's at 122. I think that's gonna speak to its lack of drag racing suspension. It's not set up for a drag strip.
would final ratios maybe have something to do with that as well?
11.2 at 122, maybe, because it seems like it kind of lays over.
That's, I mean, again, that's Hellcat red eye territory. Like, you know, I know guys personally with bone stock Hellcat red eyes who have done like 10.9.7.
But they have a suspension so much better suited to the drag strip.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, we don't know who the driver was for Car and
I just
Driver.
feel like these are all funky numbers somehow. I was expecting
Maybe we built it up. Maybe we built it up so much that it's not the supercar we think it is. I hate to say that. And remember, this is the base model Corvette we're talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's true.
I mean, it is the base. It's the one, if it was a C4, we'd be making fun of it.
Okay. I mean, Car and Driver is pretty much gospel to me. I mean, you know, it's one of the big three: Motor Trend, Car and Driver, Road and Track. So I doubt the numbers are wrong. I'm just trying to account for it in my head. That's
the skid pad is.
Well, we did see some funky reporting from one of those big three about the Corvette C8. We don't have to get into that unless you guys want to. I don't care.
I don't even know what you're referring to. If anything, though, these Car and Driver numbers for the Nürburgring numbers were Car and Driver or a different.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
they were.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. The Nürburgring were not official numbers. They were just in an article.
Well, I mean, to score this, I mean, the 2.7 0 to 60, that's crazy.
I mean, do you want to know the skid pad numbers?
Yeah.
It's only 1.03. Only.
Yeah,
but,
only.
I mean, what wasn't it the ZL1 and the GT500 were both in the 1-teens?
Mm-hmm.
It was like 113 and 116. Even the Hellcat was at like 1.08.
And what is this one at, Greg?
1.03.
Hellcat wasn't at 1.08. It was less than 1. It was like 0.9 something.
Was it that low?
Mm-hmm.
These numbers are all sounding wacky to me, you know.
It's a base model Corvette. I think we've all built it up so much in our head. But yeah, I mean,
but to have a 0 to 60 number that literally you would have to spend $1 million to beat with like a McLaren P1 or something.
But you could, you could slow it down by at least 0.2 of a second with gearing. So, I mean, to have that feather in your cap, yeah, I'd put stupid gears in my car to make it do that. Like I'm not GM. I'm just saying. Like,
so let me ask you this then: where are you at grading this?
I think I'm coming in at a 3.5 again, only because
underwhelmed, and so am I. I'm like, geez, I thought these numbers were going to be like Ferrari's territory.
But it's a base model Corvette.
I get it.
I get
it, but it's the only one we have to compare.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, I think we've all built it up as this bang for the buck deal that we're expecting legitimate, straight up supercar numbers out of it.
What was the final price?
Final price was
82,350.
That's a hell of a lot of performance for that much money.
Absolutely. But then that but listen, guys, that would have more to do with value. That's a value judgment.
Oh, yeah.
I still think it's going to kill in value.
No, because if we were comparing it to the previous three cars that we did, right? If we were comparing it to the Mustang, the Camaro, and the Hellcat, it's comparable. But once we start measuring it against what we're going to, I think it's going to be.
I think I'm surprised because here's what's bugging me: the combination of mid-engine, which obviously yields the optimum in balance, plus the low center of gravity. I mean, this car is a lot lower than a GT500, a Hellcat, any of the muscle cars we did. Plus, what's the dry weight, Greg? It's like 3,600, something like that.
Dry weight,
quite a bit lighter.
I mean, I don't understand why it's not road holding like a slot car. It's just
Well,
like I kind of objectively feel like the
The
numbers aren't adding up, or
yeah,
subjectively.
the skid pad kind of throws me through a loop. The Nürburgring time, start thinking about it, start thinking about that track. There's some long stretches of straight roadway there, and those other cars have quite a bit more power. So,
Absolutely.
But
you would think it'd be able to make up, a large component of the Nürburgring is also curves. And you would think the low center of gravity, the mid-engine, and all the things I mentioned would help, balance out the long straightaways where,
it's still
forced induction cars would pull away.
3647.
3647. Not one car, not one muscle car that we reviewed was anywhere close to that. I think what was the ZL1 the lightest and it was still very close to 4,000 pounds, as I recall.
Well, here's the thing. Let's look at it this way. My EcoBoost Mustang is only 3540 or something. So my Mustang is lighter than the Corvette.
Yeah, with a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Well, and a turbo and all. I mean, that all adds weight.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it
the
doesn't
GT
add
is
weight to a 6 point, compared to a 6.2 liter block.
I mean, the 5.0 is right around there. I think it's 3680, something like that. I mean, this car is not as svelte as it should be, I think.
Well, I guess all we can go with is the numbers, and if these are verified numbers, yeah, I'm with Greg. I'm at like a 3.5, and I'm sad to say so because I thought this car had a lot more to it than that.
Well, damn, guys, 3.5 across the board, I guess.
Well,
okay.
And here's the thing. Let's remember this too. I mean, we're comparing it against gods. And it's literally a punk kid from the block. Like,
yeah. And like you said, it's not, it's not even a Z06, let alone a ZR1. So maybe in the future we revisit one of those cars as they come out. But, with all the hype and all the talk of mid-engine and center of gravity and all that,
it's not the giant killer that we expected.
No, I thought we were going to see a just over 7-minute Nürburgring time, and we're not. So I guess 3.5. Moving on.
There you go.
All right.
That brings us to comfort, convenience, interior amenities, etc.
I think, our discussion of that center stack there threw me a little bit because I've never sat in one, although I've looked up close to the interior of the C8. It's a nice design. It's not in Ferrari territory, and it's not in R8 territory, that's for sure.
As far as which aspect of the interior?
Well, all of them. I mean, materials. None of these cars are really.
So quality.
Quality.
And remember
material.
too, they already had an issue with the stitching fraying with the C8s.
Yeah.
It was not just that, it was the stitching across the dash. There's a long length of just straight stitching. They were coming from the factory with waves in them.
Oh. Well, I mean, I've sat in plenty of Ferraris, and I can tell you the interior of a Ferrari is like there is nothing wrong with it. Everything is immaculate. Every stitch,
What about the comparative functionality?
Ferraris are not strong on ergonomics traditionally, and because it's an Italian car, the interface on their graphical user interfaces are by far not the best in the industry, but they're usable. But really, I mean, once you've sat in a Ferrari, I mean, it's just too hard to compare other cars to it.
It's just like a bunch of baby ducks cradling you.
We're going back to the baby duck thing.
It's a very, very special thing. You know, you are sitting in a Ferrari and there's this sense of awe, and, you know, you're just touching every surface and, you know, feeling the tactile.
The clouds part and rays of sunshine.
There's angels with trumpets. But, you know, I think the Corvette, for an American car, you know, of its ilk, you know, it's not a big car by any means, and it wasn't designed to be comfortable. It was designed to perform first and foremost. So I'm trying to balance like the competition that we're going to see later on versus what it offers for 82 grand. I'd go, I think I'm somewhere to 3.5 again, to be honest with you.
I think I'm going to give it a little bit more. I want to give it a 4 because, and again, this is just based on what we saw there, right? Like I haven't sat in one, but I really like the way it's laid out. I like the driver-centric design. I like cars that are designed with that in mind, right? And it's a performance vehicle, so you know anything that has to do with the passenger is secondary. I like the way that the infotainment center is angled toward the driver. I like that it has a heads-up display. I like the seats that they chose. Even like the upgraded seats that we chose when we built it, they were nice. I like the square steering wheel. You brought up an interesting point about like the buttons, about selecting those and how they're off to the side. I'm not sure, you know, how often you'd be using those in a performance driving scenario. So I don't know that would bother me that much.
There's also, it could be that those are redundant hard buttons and that you can select all of that on the touch screen. So,
right. Overall, I really like the design. Whether or not the materials are up to par as far as like the other cars that we're gonna rate. I think we all know that they're probably not. They're definitely not. But is it enough for me to knock it more than 1 point? I don't think so. So I'll give it a 4.
See, for just to add on to what you're saying, you know, when we get to Ferrari, you're going to be, I mean, it's one of the great interior makers of all time. I mean, it's like Bentley, Ferrari, you know.
I anticipate giving Ferrari a 5.5 if I can, just because I love their designs.
And for me, though, you know, the thing in making my decision, I had to say there is slightly more than a 1 point gap, you know, 1.5. It's only half a point, but that's how I got to 3.5.
I get you.
Yeah. Greg?
Yeah, I'm at 3.5. I mean, I like the driver centric setup. I don't like how it cuts you off from your passenger. I mean, let's be fair. For an $82,000 car, it's probably spot on. For the class of cars we're comparing it to, we need to leave more than 1 point of room.
That's how I felt.
So I'm at 3.5. I mean,
does the Ferrari come with a heads-up display? Does the R8 come with a heads-up display?
Yes.
They do? Both?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And I might have mentioned earlier an optional second infotainment screen in front of the passenger as well, so they can see your RPMs, what gear you're in, all that kind of crazy
stuff. They need to know.
They need to know because we're rally driving, and my co-pilot needs to.
They need to know when. They need to know what lateral G-force they're experiencing it.
You're gonna break the car, Sammy.
What's up next?
Let's see. We have performance, quarter mile, 0 to 60, braking, quickness. So we kind of covered a little bit of that in the handling department, but we didn't grade it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it gets a little bit better there because, you know, it seems like some of its weaknesses kind of disappear especially with that 0 to 60 time.
Yeah.
That's a huge feather like we were talking about.
Yeah.
2 point. 2.7.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 2.7 is crazy. I'm not so sure, the quarter mile time these days is not that crazy. There are muscle cars that do that, for even less money. A Hellcat comes close to 11 seconds stock. Not even a red eye, just a standard Hellcat is in the 11-second bracket, bone stock. But yeah, I mean, a sub 3 second 0 to 60 time, that was impossible 10 years ago in a car under hundreds of thousands of dollars, let alone millions. I mean, do you guys realize that the C8 Corvette goes to 60 miles an hour only 0.3 of a second slower than a Bugatti Chiron? That's nuts. I don't know how they achieved that, with just 500 horsepower, but
And look about 1,000,000 times better doing it.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of Bugatti styling myself, but let's face facts, that Chiron is a $2.5 million car, and we're talking about an $82,000 car, and you will hang with him. He'll win, but it'll only be a car length or less. That's pretty nuts to 60. So I'm going to go, I think where Greg was headed, I'm going to give it a bump from a 3.5 because of that factor, and I'm going to give it a 4.
Is that where you're at, Greg?
I don't know the specs of the other cars, so I don't want to give it too high a score.
I mean, a Tributo, the Ferrari mid-engine car, is not much quicker. It might be only 1/10 of a second quicker to 60.
I mean, it's got to be a 4. It does. But the only way it's not awesome is by potentially comparing it to other supercars.
Yeah.
Any yardstick that is objective. I just think of that dog running around on YouTube, fastest boy, I had to say it. I'll beep it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an awesome performance. So it's got to be a 4, and that's only to leave room.
Man, it doesn't do. So we're talking about quarter mile, 0 to 60, all that stuff. The 0 to 60 is like the one, like you guys said, that feather in its cap, right? That's like the one thing it can hold to the rest of these cars that we're talking about as far as performance is concerned. And so if you're going to give it a bump in its points, it would be here, right? So I guess that's where you got to do it. I still don't feel great about giving it a 4, but that's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah, but I weighed my decision that like I said, that quarter mile time is not sensational and will be blown away by the other cars. And I think the F8 Tributo is a low 10-second car, if not less. It might even be a high 9-second car quarter mile.
And that R8?
I'm not as versed in the R8, but before we build it, I'll brush up on my specs.
What were the other cars that we were going to do? We got
R8, Acura NSX, F8 Tributo.
See, and the NSX is going to get some artificially inflated performance numbers because it does have that electric boost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not
artificial. They're real.
Yeah, they're not artificial if they're real world.
Yeah, you know what I mean, though. I mean, it's going to be.
It's a little apples to oranges.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah,
it's but a little bit weird.
The Tributo does it with a turbocharged engine.
I don't think it's apples to oranges. I think it's the car. We're comparing the cars.
Yeah.
And that's what they come with.
Yeah. So, for me, I had to, go between 3.5 to 4, but I don't see how you rate a car that goes 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds, anything less than a 4.
All right. Here's a really weird question. I'm looking at the specs and something isn't making sense. They have a rolling start. Well, they have a rolling start 5 to 60 that's timed.
Right. Isn't that normally slower than a standing start?
But it's significantly slower.
What is it?
3.5 seconds versus 2.8.
How do you lose 0.7 of a second?
Wheel
When
spin?
when you're already going 5 miles an hour versus 0.
I mean, usually the 5 to 60 time is a little slower
A
than
little
the 0 to 60 by virtue of the fact that they, do a launch either with launch control or with their foot on the brake. And
Yeah, you get some wheel speed.
but none of these numbers have been like adding up to me. I mean, I keep thinking about it.
This is going to keep Rob up at night, dude. This is
It's just weird because the car's so light and low and it's mid-engine. It's just like the laws of physics dictated should be able to beat a GT500 around the damn Nürburgring.
I can see Rob standing in front of a chalkboard just, this is impossible.
How about me waking up screaming in the middle of the night tonight, like covered in sweat with like a sweat, ring around me on my mattress. And I'm like, it can't be that slow. I can't figure it out, but we can only go with the numbers. I mean, we're not actually testing these cars ourselves, so we can only go with published numbers. And
Hint, hint. General Motors,
Yeah.
Chevy Performance.
Yeah, hint. Give us a C8.
All right, guys. I guess
Vinny, what was your number on that? What was your final number?
I agree with you guys. I kind of wanted to give it like a 3.8, but Rob brings up a good point. I mean, how do you score it less than a 4 when it's doing 0 to 60 that quick? I don't know. I guess a 4. That's where I'm at.
I think 4 is fair. I really do.
That brings us to price.
5, 5.5, 20.
Here's where nothing touches the Corvette. Not only in our comparison, but in the world. And I can't wait for the Z06 to come out because these numbers are going to come way down. And I think the price won't go significantly that much up. I mean, it'll obviously cost more, but are we talking?
What do you think? 20? It'll be what, like $20,000-$30,000 more?
If given past generations of the Vet, like recent past C7, C6, I'd say 20 is probably the max.
Where were we at with this one, Greg? The final price?
The final price right now, we're 82,350.
This is a 5. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts. It's a solid 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Well, across the board 5s. That brings us to availability, exclusivity, status, collectability, and X factor.
Can we discuss this? Because I feel like when we evaluated the muscle cars, I'm not sure we got a handle. At least I felt like, were we talking about exclusivity within the ranks of like the car's buyers? In other words, like when we did the Challenger, a Hellcat is rare compared to like the GT, 6-cylinder. But the other way to look at it is this car a rarity in general? Like a Ferrari is a rarity. They only make like 4,000 F8 Tributos or 5,000, something like that a year.
I think that's where the X factor comes in. It's really like up to interpretation, like where
your
you
personal feeling. Like,
Okay.
Like, and that's why the Challenger got hit so hard by me in that category.
What was your reasoning though? Because
I see them everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everybody and their brother has one. And there's not really a huge differentiation between a red eye Hellcat and, a GT,
well,
like you said.
I think, I said earlier, it's taken a while for me to start seeing C8s on the road, a long while, surprisingly long while. But they did announce the car almost a year, I think, before they started building them. So, and then we had the pandemic, of course, which slowed everything down. But they're fairly rare on the roads of Southern California. I don't see one every day, maybe not even every week. But by the same token, it's a Chevrolet. It's not a Bugatti. It's not a Ferrari. It's not,
I don't. Okay. Yeah. In that same vein of thought, Rob, I don't see them that often. You're right. but I
Mhm.
see an NSX, an Audi R8, and the Ferrari F8 even
Yeah.
less, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot less. You
Right.
know,
So I'm going to go for that very reason. That's where I was headed towards. I'd say a 3.5 again, or 3.5 or 3.
See, you're actually a little bit lower than I was thinking,
Really?
because I mean, all your points are valid, but right now, and again, this will change in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
But
because
right
they're
now,
gonna,
yeah,
yeah,
there's
but,
no barrier to entry. I mean,
right,
there's
but you gotta also remember in terms of the maybe not the NSX, but in terms of the R8 and the Ferrari, there are caps
Mhm.
on how many they make. Like
Yeah.
literally there are caps. You can't just go down to your neighborhood Ferrari dealer and walk away with an F8. They're built to order. They may or have 1 or 2 of them on a showroom floor, but basically to get what you want, it's strictly built to order, and it can take like 9 months to get your car delivered, or a year or something like that. These, you go to Chevy and, in a month and a half, something like that.
so when the chip shortage is gone.
Right. You could build to order, or, given a little bit more time, you're going to see fleets of them on the dealer floors, like you did
Yeah.
with every version of the Corvette.
Yeah,
So
your 3 is starting to sound a whole lot more
that's my point.
like legit.
I give it.
Going 3. I'm going 3. If for no other reason that a Ferrari is a 5, and there's a
So-
big difference.
I interpreted this a little bit differently, though. I think that it's a good thing to have that availability. That's one of the strengths of the Corvette, is that it's the everyman's supercar, right? So not everybody can afford an $80,000 car, but a lot more people can afford an $80,000 car than a $300,000 car or a $1 million car.
Mhm.
And so I think that's kind of cool. So once those things, once the production starts to catch up with the demand, we're going to start seeing a lot more of them, which I think has always been like the hallmark of the Corvette, which is the whole point, right? You get this awesome performance, but almost everybody can have it. So I don't know. I kind of like that. Where do you score this thing, Greg? I'm still making up my mind.
I think I'm at the 3, because in my mind, the exclusivity, you are in an exclusive tier. It being available then becomes like GTA when you finally unlock the rare car and they're everywhere. It sucks. It kind of hurts. Like,
Yeah.
What about status though? Right now, where it sits. I mean, we can't talk about the future.
it's not as high.
It's a Chevrolet.
It's not as high as the rest of its competitors.
You know what?
Fair.
If
That's
we were
fair.
living in France right now and doing this podcast, a C8 Corvette would be a rarity, because they go crazy for like Corvettes over in Europe, because they never see them and they have to be gray market imported in most cases to most countries over there. They'd say this is a 4 or 5. It's a rarity, but it's not. I mean, like I said, give it 6 months and the chip shortages and whatever else are done with, there's going to be 20 of them on your average Chevrolet lot. And I get what you're saying, Vinny, but I don't think this is the category. Like, value is really the category where what you're saying applies. I think this is more in terms of how many of them are out there. And if there's only 5,000 2021 F8 Tributos on the streets of the world, and there are probably already 15,000 Corvettes, 20,000 Corvettes this year that have been built.
Yeah.
There's no way to.
But then also, devil's advocate at the end of the day, if the fact that it's an accessible supercar is your X factor, then give it a 5. Like,
Well, that's not necessarily
your deal.
it's not necessarily my X factor. I just think it's like availability is one of the points here, and the fact that you can get one, they should be considered, and then the fact that you can't get one of those Ferraris should also be considered, right? So I guess it's up to the individual scorer to make up their mind, like what value to give that.
Absolutely. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, and I think we have to remember at the end of the day, it's a freaking Corvette. Like in the global scale, it is not. I mean, until this car, Corvette was never ranked with these other cars. It was never on the same field.
I don't think that's true.
I think past ZR1s, certainly Car and Driver and Motor Trend and whatnot did enough shootouts like we're doing in past iterations. But I get what Greg is saying from the standpoint, it's mid-engine now, which is a big difference.
Right.
It's not showing in these numbers that we're getting, in terms of road holding and Nürburgring times, but it was comparing apples and oranges before, and now it's apples to apples because it's a mid-engine car now.
I'm really torn by this category. I'm going to give it a 3.75. Yeah, I feel good about that. What about you, Greg?
I'm at a 3. I agree with Rob's assessment, and it's just I feel like, and I don't mean it to sound as harsh as I sounds in my head, but it's still a young kid on a very seasoned stage.
Mm-hmm. There's also the fact that not the average person, but the average person to whom cars means a lot to can afford a base Corvette at $59,000 if they don't go for all the wacky options we put on it. Whereas the F8 is out of 95% of the world population's means,
right,
out of sight.
Yeah.
Just unless you're a multimillionaire, you're never going to have one. And the other thing we should consider is that Ferraris appreciate. So 15 years from now, it's worth more than it was brand new. Whereas a Corvette 15 years on is going to be worth crap until
I'll finally be able to afford one.
That's another thing that we kind of glossed over with that category, and that's collectability. So obviously all Ferraris are collectible. I think to some extent all Corvettes are collectible, but it's not the same. It's not in the same way that Ferraris are collectible.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, Ferraris from the year 2000 are approaching $500,000 already. I mean, it's because there's only so many of them made. There's caps at the factory, and if you want one, it's what the market bears, and that'll never be true in the case of a Corvette.
Right.
Maybe real vintage, like split window Stingrays from the early 60s, that might be the case.
Yeah, but even those, you compare it to a Mercedes Gullwing, and the
Gullwing is way over $1 million, and the split window is a couple $100,000. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to our last category, and this one is a little bit of a spicy one for this car anyways. We talked about it a lot in this episode already, but it's looks.
Greg, do you want to start? I'd like to hear your input on this.
It's a sexy car. The pictures, I think the pictures didn't do it justice. Seeing it roll down the street, in person, it is a good looking car. The wheels, I need to put some different wheels on it, but it's tough because it does tickle every single fancy of this level of car for me. It's hard to ding it for me, really hard.
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Man, especially like if we're just talking sheer looks, the fact that I can put carbon fiber on everything in my order sheet, I like the way the rear wing looks. Everything, like if I was gonna ding it, it would be on color availability. Like,
what about, does the first aid kit play into the
I mean, this car looks good. I get McLaren vibes off of it.
I think that's not to hijack your thread, Greg, but to me, it borrows from all the greats, right? It borrows from Ferrari, it borrows from McLaren, it borrows from
Lamborghini.
But all those elements, I feel like all those brands did those aspects of the car better, right? So you have like that short kind of nose that McLaren and Ferrari have used on a lot of their cars. Some of the aero is reminiscent of Lamborghini, and all those cars have done it better, in my opinion. So it's a great looking car, but it just feels kind of like the Wish version of all those cars to me.
See, I wouldn't go that far. And then looking at the rear 3/4 panel, there's still some Corvette there.
Yeah.
Like they managed to incorporate some Corvette in something that is so not Corvette.
Yeah. Well, the mid-engine obviously changed the proportions a lot. That short nose that Vinny's referring to is only possible because the engine isn't up there anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how hard to ding it for my little gripes because I think they've done a stellar job here. I really do.
Where you at?
I'm debating between 4 and 4.5.
Wow.
And the only reason I don't want to give it a 4.5 is because I don't want to diminish its rivals. You know what I mean? Like that's not fair to them.
Like it's what you said before that you need space because some of the cars we're going to be getting to or but I mean, but the overall, I love this. Like I really do. They've won me over with this car. Just on looks. And again, I'm going to ding it because of wheels and I'm going to ding it because of the color selection. There's nothing that really, I would have a hard time paying this money right now because none of these things are pulling at my heart. Good point. Good point. I was really, that's one thing I felt, I agree with you 100% when you've got 4 different shades of gray and silver and black, but you don't have like a green, orange, you know, any
something like
just something. It was,
I mean, this is your flagship vehicle. Why do you not have flagship colors?
And why aren't there 20 different colors to choose from? Why were there like 8 or 9 colors?
And why is there not a $1,500 paint upgrade option? Throw some chameleon on it. Ford was doing it with the Mystic Mustangs. Throw something crazy on it.
Or like tri-coats or
You're revolutionizing shit. Revolutionize. Like
that's a good point.
But so I'm gonna go 4 because I just worked myself up.
Okay, I'm glad I had Greg go first this time. I know you guys tend to defer to me because I'm technically the guest on this show, even though I'm a regular now. But I'm glad he went first because I'm glad he brought up the paint issue. That really pissed me off. Like I might not pick emerald green, but like Greg said, if this is your halo car, goddammit, it should have 20 different colors of 20, different hues. And instead they offered black and a bunch of different grays and silvers. And I found it all quite boring to the point, to be honest with you, red was the only color that was acceptable to me. I wouldn't really want it in anything else except for black, but I have a thing about black cars because I own one and it's just been the bane of my existence. But let me bring up 3 quick points that weigh heavily into my decision as well. Number 1, the Corvette in real life is very color dependent. It's one of those designs where it really doesn't look good in some colors and it really looks good in other colors. And that is not the case for a lot of cars. Like pretty much any color you throw on a GT500, I'm gonna like the car, okay? Any color you throw on, let's say, pretty much like a BMW, I'm pretty much gonna like it. There's no one color that you're going to look at it and go, oh, that just sucks. I have seen Corvettes on the road in that ceramic gray that the show car was in, and it looks horrible, horrible. But then I've seen them in red in real life, and I was like, wow. So I gotta work that into this conversation, that it's heavily color dependent. The second thing is, I was once going down Stunt Road here in Malibu, and there was a car coming the other way, and it was real low and real wide. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm looking at this thing as we close on each other. And I'm like, what is that? Is that a Ferrari? Is that a Lamborghini? I just couldn't quite make it out. I knew it was a hypercar because it was just so low and wide and aggressive, but I couldn't make out the details. And as soon as I got within like 75 feet of it, I was like, wow, that's the new C8. And it was one of the first ones I saw actually out in the wild on the road. And the fact that they had me fooled until, you know how they say about, like, if you're drunk in a bar, there's a girl over there who's like a 30-footer, you know, because like with booze and 30 feet away, she's great looking, but you get closer and not so much. The Corvette's kind of like that for me. It was from 100 yards, 150 yards. I was like, that's got to be an Italian supercar. I got a little closer and I recognized it as a Corvette. And I'm still impressed by the design, but it's not a Ferrari. When we get to the F8 Tributo, which is, in my mind, arguably the prettiest car design on the planet right now, there's very little that can compete with it in terms of aesthetics. Corvette looks kind of dumpy next to it. Converse to all that, and I'll try and wrap this up quickly. For what it is, I think they did a great job. They borrowed from the best. Like Picasso said, you steal. You don't borrow, you steal. And I noticed a lot of the things that you did, Vinny, with the Lamborghini hood, and the side vents are very reminiscent of current turbocharged Ferraris, which all have to have those vents in the back to feed the engine. And they did a good job. It's a good looking car. It's an integrated design. Arguably the best looking American car right now. You know, Greg might say the GT500. I might say a Dodge Challenger. You might say a Camaro. But I think they did a great job for what it is. I got to give it room between a Ferrari F8 Tributo. And where Greg came in at a 4, I'm going to have to go 375 for that latter reason, that the Tributo is the Mona Lisa and nothing else compares. I'm done.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up pretty well, Rob. Listen, it's hard to make that wedge shape that a mid-engine car comes in, like that package. It's hard to make it look bad, right? So any of the cars that we're talking about, they all look pretty good. And I start ranking them in my mind as you start listing some of the cars that it's borrowed from. Of course, that Ferrari is at the top of the list. It's got that Italian styling that is unmatched. It's beautiful. But then when I started thinking about the other cars that we're talking about on this list that we're comparing, and I think it's better looking than the NSX. I think it's better looking than the R8. I don't think it's as good looking as McLaren P1, even though it's not on our list. I think it's better looking the Lamborghini, whatever would be the comparable Lamborghini.
Huracan would be comparable.
Yeah, I think it's much better looking than that car. So it falls somewhere right in the middle, right? So it's not the best looking, it's not the worst looking. I'd probably give it around the same that you did, Rob. But I'm going to ding it less on the colors because when we went into this thing, I said there are 2 colors that are acceptable for this car, in my opinion, and it's black and red. And so that's all that really mattered to me. I know that I have to score this kind of, you know, in a global way, right? Like there's more people out there than myself, but really it looks good in red. So that's what I got to score it on. Yeah, I don't know. 3.8. That's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're all very within
Actually,
3/10 of each other. So
I'm going to bump that up and give it a 4 because I need to have room for the other cars. I'm not going to score an R8 a 2. You know, it's a good looking car. I just don't think it's as good looking as this.
yeah, though I would make the point the NSX is a pretty fine looking car. I think when we're looking at pictures of it, because it's not a car I doubt all three of us like ever spend time ogling pictures of an NSX, but when you see it on their configurator, it's a pretty special looking car, to be honest.
It's a cool looking car. I was just looking. I had to pull up a photo of it because I knew I wanted to compare. And they're cool looking cars. They are, but I think they're less supercarish than the others.
Yeah.
I think by virtue of it coming out of Japan, Japan is not a supercar nation, so to speak, whereas Italy has that in their very blood and bones, and the design houses of Italy like Pininfarina and Zagato have been building those cars styling those cars rather for 60, 70 years.
Rob,
I agree with you, but the NSX, I've seen them in person and it's not a bad looking car, but I'll agree with you as far as the R8 is concerned. R8s are wild looking, but they're not great looking. And there's a difference. But I mean, we're all within a few tenths of each other on this.
Did we land on a British sports car or supercar?
We were talking about an Aston Martin, but Britain doesn't make, they don't really make a mid-engine car except for the Lotus Exige, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know that that's in the same category.
It's not. It's not. It is a mid-engine sports car, but it is very small and very light, and only has like a 250 horsepower engine because it's so light. It's a 0 to 60 in like 4-second car, so it's just
not on the
Nürburgring. That thing will fly because of the handling on it. It's literally like an RC car. But it's price wise, horsepower, size, weight. It's just not in the same league. Aston Martin doesn't make a mid-engine car until
the Valkyrie,
the Valkyrie, which is probably still like a year away. So
yeah, a few $1 million, I'm sure.
Well, wait, the Valkyrie, didn't they just run the Valkyrie at Goodwood?
Yeah, but it's a pre-production model and subject to change. And
well, the Valkyrie wins my vote because it's got a 1,000 horsepower naturally aspirated engine.
It's basically the Mercedes Formula One engine, the current Formula One engine in a.
But it's got 4 cats on it.
Oh, and it's so beautiful, man.
And it's got a warranty.
And it's got a warranty, but you better be prepared to have about $3.5–4 million in your pocket to blow on.
1,000 horsepower naturally aspirated engine.
Yeah, I get it.
With a warranty.
I think it's interesting that Mercedes doesn't have anything to bring to the party.
They will. They have a model called the AMG 1 coming out maybe next year. I saw a pre-production mock-up of it at the LA Auto Show 2019. And it's also basically a Formula One car for the road. It's all carbon fiber, like the Valkyrie, carbon fiber chassis, body, everything, with the Mercedes AMG Formula One, detuned Formula One engine for the street. So
Mercedes, never to be outdone.
Never to be outdone, but there are a lot of British cars I love, and I have always been a fan of Aston Martin, which has produced aesthetically some of the most wonderful cars in the world. I had lunch with my parents like 2 weekends ago, and there was an Aston Martin Vanquish S from about 2001.
Oh yeah, that
in the parking lot.
Pierce Brosnan special.
Oh God, dude, it was just achingly beautiful car, and 20 years old, and it still didn't look dated it was just amazing.
They're great, man.
Yeah, but sadly, there's really nothing to compare. Maybe we do front engine sports cars down the road.
Yeah.
Greg, Rob, I know that in the past we've tallied our scores in the final episode right? So I think we've gone on long enough on the C8.
This was a long episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was good. We talked a lot. We talked a lot about the C8, but we also laid a lot of groundwork for the future episodes of this series.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Rob, thank you so much for making time to come on. Greg, you too, man. Thank you both.
Always my pleasure. I love it. Enjoy it. And if I could, two things. Number one, if you guys are still with us after 3 hours on this podcast.
We're only 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Oh, well, that's not bad. I thought it was longer than that. Rob's movie muscle on the DeLorean from Back to the Future dropped last week, so check that out and keep your eyes open for a new Rare Rides, probably coming this weekend or early next week. It's a special one for you Chevy guys out there. So
looking forward to it, Rob. That DeLorean article did really well, as all of your articles do, but I had a feeling that people were going to just be into that. And so I'm glad that
your suggestion as usual, because I defer to you for topics for movie muscle.
It was a tough, it's getting harder and harder to pick cars that you haven't done because you've done so many already.
It's also tough because for that column in particular, you know, with Rob's car movie review, it's more about the movie. And then I touch upon the vehicles in it. With Rob's movie muscle, it's an in-depth look at a car. And if there isn't really a lot of information, like is the case with older car movies, you know, where they basically, after a car was used in a film, it went to a junkyard and it was not saved. And they didn't have the internet back then to talk about, you know, how it was outfitted for the movie and stuff. It's a hard column to write. It's a hard column to find subjects for.
No, I totally appreciate the situation that it has arisen, but we'll find a creative way.
Oh yeah, it's not ending anytime soon. And the DeLorean was a good pick. It was a fun article to write, and hopefully you all find it a fun column to read.
We'll tap that well a little bit more, and then for those of you who are with us, drop a comment in the comment section below. Give us some ideas. But Rob, thanks again, man. We really appreciate you coming on and chewing the fat with us.
I love you guys, and I love doing the show, so it's all good.
We love you too, man. We'll see you soon.
Adios.
Hi, I'm Jim McElvain from Optima Batteries, and I'm here today to talk about why batteries aren't made like they used to be. You've heard people say that, and it's true. Batteries aren't made like they used to be made. They're made better than ever, but people are still having battery problems. So why is that? Because new vehicles are more demanding than ever on their batteries. I came out here in a Chevrolet Silverado that had air-conditioned seats, it had satellite radio, it had Wi-Fi, it had OnStar, it had all kinds of stuff. And you need strong batteries to power all that. So the batteries they're putting in vehicles today are sometimes 30% bigger than the batteries they put in 10, 15, 20 years ago. So what can you do to extend and maximize the performance of your battery regardless of the brand? Use a battery charger or maintainer. Use it once a month. This is the Optima Digital 400 charger and maintainer. Anybody can use it. It's no spark technology, so you won't hurt yourself using it. Positive on positive, negative on the ground. That's it. It'll do the rest. Take care of your battery. It'll take care of you and your vehicle.
Well, there you have it, Greg. We built this a Corvette, dude. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. That, you know, I guess my biggest surprise is I didn't think I was fanboying out over the Corvette that hard, but that we built up this supercar that's, you know, going to kill everything. I mean, it's still impressive. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't think you're fanboying, dude. I think a lot of outlets have just touted this thing as something that maybe it's
I don't
maybe
know.
it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
But I mean, it's still the base model. There are going to be 2 performance versions on above it.
Yeah, but we can't give it that cop out, man. We set out to compare this thing to some epic cars.
No, for sure. And I think it's still going to do well with the money factored in. I absolutely do.
Fair enough, yeah.
But we have to remember, in absolute numbers, it's still the base model car.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up, man. Once we talk about the money, right? So even though we scored this thing relatively low,
Yeah.
the money is where it's going to even out, right? So it'll be really interesting to see where that. How do we measure it? Dollar per point?
Yeah, dollars per point. That yeah.
How that equals out, because I mean, we might score that Ferrari Tributo really high, but the price tag that's attached to it might just kill it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what's really funny is I was looking at the numbers. We scored the C8 Corvette in its class about the same as the ZL1.
I mean, know how that worked
scary,
out. Yeah.
Scary close. So in its class, the base Corvette seems to fall in line with the ZL1, which is pretty cool for the base model to hang with, you know, how we scored the supercar.
And who won that shootout, Greg?
I don't know. The GT500.
It was, if I recall, they were pretty damn close though.
I'm pretty sure the ZL1 actually won it on paper.
Yeah. Which car would you rather own, or any of us? I think we all admitted that the GT500 was the car that we would.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, if you ask me, do you want a ZL1 or a C8 Corvette? Ooh,
I'd rather have the ZL1. You know me. But I'm not a Corvette guy. You know.
Well,
so.
neither am I. But which is why I think it's weird that I would lean towards the ZL1, because the ZL1 is much more exclusive. I mean, granted, it doesn't have the badass looks. I don't know. It's more practical.
You think the C8 looks better than the ZL1?
In an absolute term, yeah, I do. Because it's got that sexy hypercar look, where at the end of the day, a ZL1 is tough and badass, but it's still a Camaro. And I'm not dissing the Camaro at all. I'm just saying. I'll be honest. I think that the C8 Corvette, in an absolute term, would probably beat a GT500 too. I'm just saying.
No way.
Really?
Not for me.
I mean,
that GT500 is just stellar, man. Best looking muscle car on the market, and the ZL1 is. I guess I'm just, like that sports car kind of look is cool, but this one's got like a hypercar look, right? So it's got, like we talked about before, it's got that wedge shape, really short nose. I prefer the C7 where it had the long hood, the conventional Corvette styling.
Yeah.
So when I look at this one, I don't know. I prefer the more muscular visage of the Camaro and the GT500. They're just a lot more, burly in terms of silhouette, right?
Yeah, no, I absolutely get that. I do. And you've nailed it. The thing is, when it comes down to what models did I have on my shelf growing up, they were all that sleek, like hypercar, well, supercar back then,
Yeah.
Plus it says something about being like unattainable, right? Because we all have muscle cars. Like I hate to say that, but you have muscle cars. We all have muscle cars. The C8, I know I'll never have a C8 because it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, but I think the brands have done a great job of differentiating these like special versions of those muscle cars.
Oh,
so much
sure.
so that, like, of course you can clone one, right, with the base model or whatever, but seeing one on the road, a ZL1 from a regular Camaro, a GT500.
Let's go back and say
the
Chevy and Ford have done a great job.
Yeah.
At differentiating their peak models.
Right. Caveat to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Challenger, not so much. It's like a hood and like a splitter.
And yellow splitter guards.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I saw splitter guards on a non-Hellcat front end the other day, and I just laughed my ass off because I think somebody literally took yellow edging, like just
that like yellow tape.
Yeah, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like it was worse than splitter guards because it was like make believe splitter car.
You know, Greg, you shouldn't talk like that. You should respect all builds.
Oh, I can't respect the splitter guard protectors. I'm sorry.
No,
I can't.
man.
I can't.
It's ridiculous. But hey, I do want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. Excuse me. And of course, that's Performance Distributors, Pro Charger, ARP, Liqui Moly, Silver Sport Transmissions, Holly Performance Brands, Optima, Performance Online, and of course our title sponsor, Lucas Oil. You know, without them, this whole show and everything wouldn't be possible. You know, they help us out on a lot of the editorial that we do. You know, we work together, especially like when we're testing something and we want to compare two products, or you know, we want to see the before and after effects of something. You know, that's what we do in a nutshell. And so it's nice to be able to work with these companies, and you know, it's nice that they've stepped in and continue to help us run the podcast, which is sweet.
Yep, for sure. For sure, we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, so as we kind of wrap up things here, Greg, what is going on Engine Labs?
Oh, there's a ton of stuff. We actually unintentionally are kind of piston centric this week.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we got stuff from UEM's webinar where we talk about, I mean, if you've ever wondered about the term hyper-eutectic, sorry, wow, that's hard to say. Go ahead and read it. I mean, it's a pretty high level overview, but it does, I mean, their webinar did a great job of explaining basically the line, the silicon line, which I'll leave it at that. So you know, kind of dangle that hook out there.
Right on.
And then also we did the see-through carburetor, which has so far exploded. That was from Smarter Every Day. He's just an engineer. And what really blows me away about that, I mean, first off, it's amazing. Go watch it. You're gonna love it. But
yeah, it's cool. What's the title of the video? It's like you know, here's how a carburetor works or something like that.
Yeah, it's the see-through carburetor. I don't remember exactly the title.
Yeah.
But he's like a legitimate rocket scientist, and to see him geek out over how a car works because he had no clue. A rocket scientist, legitimate rocket scientist, didn't understand carbs, which is telling you something. But then to hear him say, oh, it's like a rocket nozzle. Like the rocket nozzle is the simpler of the two.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because, you know, I would have figured that he would say like, oh, it's so simple, you know, especially when you talk about something like a CV carb, you know, something that's not as sophisticated as, you know, like a quadrijet or something.
Yeah. But I mean, just to see his excitement throughout the whole process is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the degreed engineer. He's going for his doctorate. Like,
that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, on Street Muscle, we have Rob alluded to it just a moment ago. We have the latest iteration of Rare Rides, which is really cool. Probably one of my favorite editions of that column to date. And it's, spoiler alert, it's for all you Chevy fans out there. So go check it out. If you're like me, you like Chevys, you're really going to dig this one. It's pretty epic. So go check it out. Rob puts a lot of work into those things, a lot of research, and we really appreciate him for it. Other than that, you know, we always have great content going up on both enginelabs.com and streetmusclemag.com. So check those out. Subscribe to our newsletters. You'll get the latest content a couple times a week. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and also leave us a comment in the comment section below and let us know who you want to see on the future episodes of the RodCast. Let us know what kind of content you really want to see. Let us know what we're doing right, wrong, and what you're indifferent about. We really appreciate your guys' feedback. Oh, I should also mention, Greg, before we finalize this episode, dude, I just got back from St. Paul, Minnesota. I was traveling, went to the Street Machine Nationals out there, and dude, first of all, I was worried about the weather. You know, coming from the coast, and so it's like 80 degrees over here all the time. But in an interesting turn of events, it was really hot over here when I was over there, and it was perfect. when I was over there. I bring this up because we also have an article on streetmusclemag.com. It's a recap of that event. So if you guys weren't able to make it, I mean, this was one of the premier muscle car events of the year. Check out that recap. We have, you know, a whole gallery with tons of photos, and then I also have a few photos of my Editor's Choice Award that I gave out while I was there. Really awesome Pro Street 71 full bumper Camaro. Be on the lookout for the full feature here pretty soon. But
didn't you also live stream from that?
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Greg. So if you guys aren't following on Facebook, go check out Street Muscle Mag's Facebook page, because I live streamed about an hour and a half of content there, just cruising around the fairgrounds, which are epic, by the way. One of my favorite venues for a show in the country. And driving around in my golf cart, just looking at all the cars as they're rolling in. And dude, I've never seen so many CUDAs in my life. I saw an AAR CUDA. I saw like a bunch of 446 pack cars, Chargers, Challengers, so many Mopars in the heartland, right? A bunch of Chevys too. I was surprised to, unfortunately for you, Greg, not that many Fords. I mean, there was a good showing, but you know, mainly Mustangs. I didn't see too many, too much Ford variety, but tons of Chevys and even more Mopars. So go give that a watch, comment, all that stuff. We really appreciate you guys. You're a big help. Greg, with that, do you have anything for the people?
No, that about wraps it up. This one's already like super long, so sorry guys.
Yeah. No, man. If you guys are still with us, we appreciate you. And if you're not, well, we'll try better next time. All right. We'll see you next Friday at noon Pacific time, as always, right here on the RodCAST. Peace out, guys.